I don't like you.
Oh, she's not joking. Not joking.
I don't like you.
Toting, Bible reading, God believing, truth speaking, American. This MAGA season, Democrats committing treason. I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with. This for free thinkers only. You ain't got no membership. They free general plan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the XJW Political Corner. I am so sorry. I am a few minutes late, but I'm here and I got the red wig on, so you already know what time it is. Hey, Michelle. Rant night. Yup, it is rant night. So if you have your red wigs, get ready. All right, I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to say hello to everybody. Let me know if you are in the chat. Let me know you're watching with us. I can give you a nice shout out and a greeting. John Marciano, hello. J-Man United. Ready for Ruby to cook tonight. Love this show. Oh, thank you. That's hilarious. I love it that you love it. Jimmy is in the chat. Hey, Jimmy. So sorry. I just sent you the link on X in your DM so you can join me. I was running a little late tonight. Hi, Rosie. Illegal immigrant. Excuse me. Hey, illegal. Joe and Fran is in the chat. Hey, Joe and Fran. How are you? Let's see. Okay. Hopefully the lighting is okay. I look like I'm red. Hey, Jimmy.
What's up, Ruby?
How you doing?
I'm tired, but I'm here.
Me too.
The show must go on.
Yup. I was literally sick in bed all day today with a migraine. And
were you really?
Yeah, but I said, nope, I cannot let another week pass by. I need to get this off my chest, deal with it, handle it. And that's it. You know what I mean? Like we need to start brand new.
Yeah, I've had some. It's been a hell of a week. I'm glad I'm glad I printed off the news blast because I need to get caught back up on what's happened this past week. I really haven't been keeping up with this stuff the past week. I've been having to deal with other crap. So
and I kind of saw a little bit of it on X, so we're gonna get into that as well. But
yeah.
I've had my fair share, and tonight is the night, everybody. Sorry, not sorry. All right, so I'm gonna finish saying hi to everybody. JG's in the chat. Steen is in the chat. Jesse's in the chat. Hey, Beverly. Who else is here? Michelle, another Michelle Price. Hi. Okay. Oh, yeah. San Diego.
Yeah, Michelle's on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle's a good. I like her perspective because she's in her own lane, like how I feel I am and you are. So I love her perspective. Hi, Beverly. Roy the Crypto Boy, welcome. Wow, from Phoenix. King Tony's in the chat. Okay, good. The gang is here. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Who else? Is anybody else here with us? Gen C. Hey. Okay, good. So I got caught up to everybody. So some announcements that I wanted to give everyone moving forward. My very first announcement is that and if anybody's watching like on a computer or desktop, mobile, however you guys are watching, you can check the description where I put rules. I'm gonna have that now like every Tuesday night, where when we have more than just me and Jimmy on the panel, I'm gonna reinstitute my 3-minute rule to keep everybody having their own turn, and so that the audience doesn't feel as if one person is getting more time than the other. So if you do join the panel tonight, I will ask you to kindly keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and then we can move on to the next subject, because I do want everybody to remember that this is not a debate. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a conversation where this is a safe place to actually say how we really feel and talk about it, not debate it or say who's right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like no back and forth. We're just making statements and then moving forward. And then the other rule, which is not mandatory, but I just wanted people to feel a little bit more comfortable. If you are comfortable, when you do hop on, please let us know where you stand politically. If I'm not like forcing this, but I do want people to, and I will explain this later, but I do want people to state they're either your affiliation or like your stance. So for example, I would consider myself right wing. So maybe that's something you can say, oh, I'm left wing, right wing. Or if you want to get specific, you can say, oh, I'm libertarian, I'm independent, I'm Republican. You know, like you can give an introduction just like that. And the reason why I want to kind of do that, only if you're comfortable, it's not mandatory, is because of what we're going to rant about tonight, which is the XJW channel video, whatever you want to call it. His YouTube channel is called XJW Furious. And so I'm going to give a response to that, because it seems like he screenshotted the whole panel, and I will show everybody. But it seems like it's very easy for people to just group us together and say, all of them agree with Ruby or all of them agree with Jimmy. They're all the same. And it's like, no. So if you are comfortable, please state your affiliation or your stance right from the get-go, so that everybody can know, like, no, this person is not in agreement with Ruby or Jimmy. They are their own, stance, whatever it may be. So those were the only rules that I wanted to give an announcement to everybody.
Oh, Ruby, you better be careful, because somebody's going to say you're acting like Watchtower. That was a joke.
And listen, I know you're laughing, but
yeah.
And when I saw that, I was very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that. Okay. So Jimmy, go ahead. You give your 2 cents, and then we'll move forward.
You go ahead. Go ahead. I'll chime in when I'm ready. But go ahead.
Okay, good. So everybody, I am going to share my screen with you. I am going to mute the video, but I am going to show the video, because I did the exact same thing when I had a problem with Jake's video. So I'm not afraid to do it with this person. I don't know who this person is or who is behind the keyboard with this channel. But the channel is called XJW Furious, and this is the video that
they're out of the UK, I think. Yeah, they're in Europe somewhere.
Okay, so I'm gonna post this link to join the panel, but this is only specifically for anybody who was here that night that is in this video. So if you're Tony, Michelle, or whoever else was on this panel, you have the link right now if you want to join and give your response to this video, because we're gonna go around the table and give our 2 cents. I'm gonna play it now on mute. Okay. So this was last week. We had Michelle on, we had Jesse.
Hey, Jimmy.
What's up,
Yep.
girl?
Hey, Ruby.
Hey guys. So there you go. You see some screenshots of us, and then you see the Hitler, and then you see the nuclear bomb.
Oh, snap.
And through the whole video, I mean, I know you put it on mute, but he's just laughing through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just laughing. That's what it is.
It's goofy.
Yes. And the
Yep.
the title of the video is titled, "Do you want to see a gaggle of XJW Trump lovers?" And so that's why I felt as if it's not okay to group everybody in one thing with me, and it's not okay to smear other people on my panel that they are Trump lovers when obviously they're not. But you see, they don't care about the truth, right?
Yeah.
But I do. I care about the truth, and I wanted to give these ladies or whoever else was on that panel a chance to speak for themselves, because they saw this video first and shared it to me. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Like, how would you
Yep.
feel if you saw your face on somebody else's YouTube channel on a diss video? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I
Mhm.
wanted to give whoever wants to go first, go right ahead.
Do you want to go, Tony?
So do you want us to still do the political stance or no?
If you
I'm
would
sorry,
like to, if you would like
Oh
to.
no, I mean that's why I texted. Do I have to repeat mine? I don't really care to, but if you want me to, so that way.
And if you want to, you can. And even if you're not
I mean,
political,
for me
you can
personally,
say,
you guys already
"Nah."
know I don't believe in the political system. I don't believe in the Democratic and Republican Party.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
guess what would you call that? Neutral. In a
Yes, you're
sense.
neutral.
Yes. So that's where I stand in regards to those things. But I have no problem supporting my people and
Right.
their beliefs and their perspectives. And I can find some common ground in certain things, right? But
Mhm.
you know, I think it's important to understand that not everyone is going to agree, and that's okay.
Right.
Some
All
people ain't
right.
figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, King Tony. Can we move on to
Jesse.
let's move on to Michelle. I love your wig. Is that a different one or the same one from last week?
It's a different one. It's a
Oh,
different
I
one.
like this one better.
That
This
was
one, you
dope.
rocking this one. I love it.
Last week
Yes.
was my inner Ariel, Little Mermaid coming out. Okay, so
Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
you probably know my stance, but I'm kind of like in the same boat as Tony. I don't believe in the red or blue teams. I think it's all a way just to divide us. So for me, I'm not in either team. I do think I do have things I agree with when on the right sometimes, and there are some things I agree with on the left sometimes, which can get me in trouble because when I start talking about it, the left jumps on me when I'm saying something about the right, and the right jumps on me.
Right.
So you really can't win, you know?
Yeah.
But my take on that video, actually, Jimmy had sent it to me, and we did get a good laugh about it because it is silly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when he sent it to me, he's like, "Oh, you're a Trump supporter now."
I said congratulations. You're a Trump lover.
Right. So we got a giggle out of it, and then also I did go to the actual XJW Furious channel, and I did give him my 2 cents, underneath
Good.
there. That I was like, you obviously didn't watch the video. This is what's wrong with not just the XJW community, but like just the world in general, where people just assume things, they jump onto things. It's not so. I want to make that clear. It's not just us in the XJW community that does that, but it is unfortunate when you're, dealing with that community and they're doing it to you as well. So
Yeah.
Right.
I did make my comments known. So if anyone wants to get a little giggle and go and look at his video and see the things I said in me. I think Colty said something too in defense of us. It's just unfortunate. It's like he did apologize. I will give him that. He did apologize and he posted a comment at the top that he pinned. and said that I was not a Trump supporter, that he was wrong. And then he went and said he watched almost the entire video. So that was interesting. So he went and watched your whole 3-hour, 4-hour show. So that was
Oh
cute. Yeah.
wow.
So at least after that he watched it. So I guess it was bittersweet, huh?
Yeah.
So now we know.
I'm glad that you got that reaction. I hope it was satisfactory to you, because honestly, it's not to me. But I'm glad that he actually responded to you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
acknowledged
Yeah.
Well, I
of
hope
what
going
you were
forward,
saying.
I hope going forward he's learned from it. That before, just like journalists, you can't go and make claims before you actually research what you're claiming. So if you want to say that stuff, which is still I think is cruel and mean, I think making fun of either side is cruel or mean. If you still want to do that, that's your piece. But you should at least know, get the facts straight. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's my stance.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Now, Jesse, welcome. You can unmute yourself, and remember, everybody has a 3-minute timer. Go ahead.
I liked it. Remember, we beat them in the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln won at the end. So, yeah, I don't know who she is.
It's a dude.
I don't know anything about her. But no publicity is bad publicity. I think it's pretty good. I kind of liked it. Me and Gilbert had fun. Pin it to the top.
Oh my gosh, Jesse.
I know that Jesse's gonna say something like that.
You're hilarious.
What did I say wrong?
Nothing.
No, I appreciate your perspective as well. I just think for me,
Truth always comes out on top.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's another thing. He's a racist. He's making fun of us Mexicans.
Hey, that may be true. I don't know, but it just kind of made me feel different a little. I don't know how to explain it, because it's like, if it was just me, I understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could rant on me, you can call me whatever you want, you can insinuate whatever you want with like the Hitler picture, but you didn't do that with just me. You did that with other people on my panel, and it's disrespectful to my guests to be grouped in with my stances like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want people to feel uncomfortable, that they know if they come on this show, there's a possibility of somebody doing a hit video on the channel, and your face possibly ends up on somebody else's channel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How
did
okay.
Jimmy even find it?
How did Jimmy find it?
One of my connections sent it to me.
Whoa, they're good.
You see what I'm saying? And it's like, I would have never seen that if it wasn't for somebody sending it. It's like
that.
a grapevine that snowballs into something else. I don't know who that person
that's
is.
The thing.
I don't like. Yeah.
Can I tell you something that me and Gilbert talked about? And let me throw it at you, a different dimension, and why we like discrimination. We love discrimination. I love when I meet racists and they hate me, because that's the way we were brought up in the Spanish. And we knew that the English brothers hated us in the Spanish congregation. When I was a kid in the 60s and 70s, we couldn't use the white congregation. They were on Avenue A, we were on 10th Avenue. We were separated. We built a new Kingdom Hall in Yuma, and the whites moved out and left us Mexicans with the old building. We knew we were always second-class citizens. And that's the way us Mexican Americans were born here in Yuma. That's the way we were raised. That you never cry about discrimination, you just beat them. And I know the Democrat Jehovah's Witnesses hate me. I know the homosexual Jehovah's Witnesses hate me. I know it. So I like it. I feed off of that energy, because we're just going to prove them wrong. So
I get that. What I'm saying is, do that to me personally, because your issue is with me. Obviously, I'm the host. This is my channel. This is my work. But what you're doing is you're smearing everybody else on that channel on the screen, and it's disrespectful to those people. Is just my point. So I want to do a response to let everybody know, who, and even that person, if they view this, that it was wrong, it was distasteful, it was insensitive, and it was just it was just wrong, in my opinion, to do something like that, because you're not directing it solely to me. You're doing it to a group of people who have nothing to do with me. I allow people to come on here as a safe place to talk about their political stances. Somebody else doing that from the outside is rubbing me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to say about that. I'm gonna let Jimmy have the last word, and then we're gonna move on.
I think the situation with this video just really shows the immaturity level of this individual. They don't, that type of attitude doesn't care who they smear or hurt. If their TDS kicks in, and it's a real thing. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what the hell the deal has been, but over the last 4 weeks, it's like the TDS has gone off the charts. And so, we're getting that backlash because, some of us, yes, we support Trump. So what? It's just, and what was funny is one of his supporters in the comments said, "What's up with this video? It doesn't make sense." And so even his own audience was pushing back, like, why would you do something like this?
Right.
But again, I mean, anything that these folks who are, they're just retarded. I'll say the word. I don't care. It's just ridiculous. And then once I found out a little bit more background about this individual, it explains why he did it. He's got TDS. He's always looking to start trouble. I've had run-ins with him in comment sections before, and they just like to poke the bear. A lot of these people, it's like a bully. They're going to poke, and then when you punch them back, they're like, "Oh, why'd you hit me?"
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are. They're being bullies. And that's why I said that type of video is very immature.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy, for all of you guys' opinions. Thank you, Jesse, Tony, and Michelle for joining. I'm going to put everybody backstage because we're going to focus on the news hour now. That was just a quick response that I wanted to give. And then we're going to add people back on after we do our focus. So Jimmy has...
Actually, Ruby, can we go ahead and, since we're ranting and you still have the red wig on?
Yes. Oh, I'm keeping the red one on. I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not changing.
Go to my Facebook page and pull that post up I put up last week. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
I don't think I've been on Facebook this week, but I did see the showdown on X. But I got.
And if you want, you can invite some people on. I'd like to get their take on it too and see what they thought.
Oh, okay. So never mind what I just said. You guys can come right back on.
Sorry.
Anybody who wants to come back on can come right back on. Okay.
And then we'll do the news. Because I got a lot.
Then we'll do the news. Yeah, I need to get this off my chest, honestly.
See,
I will never let this slide ever.
Yeah, I got to say something too. I was going to wait to do it in a video, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just do it now and be done with it.
Yeah. Okay, so I got your Facebook.
All right, so scroll down until you see under no circumstances, in all capital letters.
Okay. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this post you made. Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Under no circumstances.
It's like a paragraph. It's like a whole paragraph.
Yeah, I know, and I saw it there too.
Yeah, look at all that stuff there. Yeah,
I know, right?
See all that stuff I post, everybody?
Yup, his page is on fire. Okay. Wow, this is...
It'll show up in a second.
Okay, because I think there was a screenshot of that post as well.
Yeah, it was on that, but you're almost there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Right here.
So before you, I'm going to have you read it because I can't see it. All right, so I put this post out, and there was a reason I put this post out.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I post something, there is a reason why I do it. And a lot of times I do things, I put posts up in a cryptic fashion because I want people to, think about things. I want them to, like, what the hell is Jimmy talking about here? And and in other posts, it has caused people to go and do research on their own.
Right.
Mhm.
So now this post was in relation to Operation Spotlight and all the letters that we sent out. So go ahead and read it for me, Ruby, if you can, because it's too small for me.
Jimmy Bell on March 2nd says, under no circumstances can anyone modify, change, or alter the original Operation Spotlight letter. Zero, zilch, nada. It is our work, our names on the letter that was carefully researched and put together. We will not allow anyone to try and hijack and muddy up our platform. If anyone tries to put our name to something that we did not agree upon, we will take necessary action. We had to put this out tonight for a reason.
Okay.
Oh boy.
What's y'all's take on that? For those that may not have seen that post already,
I did.
what's y'all's take on that? How does that one make you feel or whatever?
I
What do
was
you think?
like, that's pretty insane that someone even would do that
Okay.
or try to do that.
Right.
It's disrespectful. Did they even ask, or how did you find?
I'm going to go into that. For those in the chat, can you guys give me your thoughts on this post?
Okay, Michelle says that she saw the post. What happened? Did someone try to troll the situation? John
so many-
says, I read that on Facebook. Certain people flipped over it for no reason.
Yeah. So I get a message saying that I was acting like Watchtower and I was telling people what to do and how they should do it.
Yeah. Do you want me to pull up the tweet or no?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Because I don't care.
Yep.
And I'm going to go ahead and explain why we put that post up. Just so that these other people can shut the hell up. And I hate to be the direct, but sometimes that's the only way to be.
But it's true. It's true.
Okay, so this was the thread from Shelly's Twitter page. I'm gonna blow it up. Let me see if I can blow it up. Okay. So that was posted on March 9th. And then you scroll down, and this is the tweet that Jimmy's talking about from Easy Prompt. So
I know who that is.
Okay, so this is where it starts. She's questioning the letter and then saying how some victims of abuse don't care to be told exactly what they need to say, since that's what cult overlords like to do. So she's likening Jimmy to a cult overlord because he is like demanding that people only send the the approved letter, as if you can't send your own. That's what she's trying to make it seem like.
But actually, hold on.
No, but they're basically stating that it's like you're forcing them to say what you guys want to say.
Right, that's what she's saying. Go ahead.
But in that post, where does it say anywhere that I want you to send this like this? Right. I don't even say that in that post.
Yeah.
It's not even about sending the letters. So go ahead.
Right.
Whatever you.
Okay,
I think that they're misunderstanding that you have always said that they can write their own letter.
Thank you.
And add it to the basis of what the first letter is.
Thank you.
Yes.
I mean,
so that's exactly what Jimmy. So that's exactly what he says. She goes on to post screenshots of his Facebook post that we literally just read. And then some of the comments that she felt that he was being tyrannical. She says tyrannical behavior about the way he's talking to people on Facebook. And then she says, I wish you would apologize to the volunteers. I don't know for what. It's like they make up these stories in their head as if people have a problem with Jimmy.
But did they even read the letter? I'm confused. I mean, and Jimmy, you've read it to us. How many? Like two times?
And I've read it.
Yes.
Many people have done videos and read the contents of the letter. And it's not just Jimmy on this. There was more than one person writing this up. So they are singling out him and doing this on X.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah, I've been dealing with this for like the past 3 days.
That's horrible.
What's today? Today's Tuesday. So they hit me up on Sunday and over on Facebook. And I think actually the comments are on the post. I didn't delete them. I think they're still on the post.
Okay.
But the person that was commenting on the post on Facebook that's the same person on Twitter. They just went to Twitter this time to fight the battle.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe it's the same individual.
So she considers that being disrespectful, the way he was wording his things on Facebook, and he's saying, I'm not apologizing for anything.
God.
I
There's
didn't do
nothing
anything.
to apologize for.
Exactly.
Honestly.
There's nothing.
I think this is ridiculous.
And so, like I told her, I said, sometimes when I post something, always when I post something, there's a reason why I do it. And sometimes it's not directed at you.
Right.
It's not, if the shoe fits, wear it. Okay. Whatever. But it was not direct. It was not directed at anyone.
Right.
That sent letters of Operation Spotlight in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't directed. So let me set the record straight.
Yeah.
For those that may still don't have it in their heads yet, that there was an organization overseas. I'm not even going to name the country, but there was an organization overseas that has some XJWs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And this organization fights for child rights. They fight for trans rights. They fight for gay rights. This is what they do. And there were certain XJWs that were not down with what this group was doing. They didn't like the trans rights things. They didn't want to be involved with that. So when they spoke out about it, the group kicked them out. And this group reached out to us asking if they could modify our letter and send it to people in their own country and have our name still on, or still using the Operation Spotlight name.
Oh yeah, no, that's why you're saying that's unacceptable. That's not what we're doing.
Exactly.
We're not collaborating with other countries. This is just specifically White House, and then 2.0 is the states.
Right.
Well, that there's a phase to 1.0, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, I'll explain that later. So because, one, we had already said before that it's copyrighted, it's our intellectual property,
right.
And no one's allowed to modify the letter. And then the person I was arguing with was like, I don't believe in intellectual property. And so I turned it around on them and I said, well, hey, I noticed you write poems. I see your poems on Facebook. You know what? They don't make me feel good. So maybe I should just reword your poems. And then I said, well, hey, you know what? Maybe I can just take your poems and publish them.
Right.
Right.
But I was like, that would be plagiarism. Do you not get this yet?
Yes. Right.
And that's what I said to this person. But anyway, because, one reason we don't want nobody touching the letter. And personally, I don't care about the trans stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't support it one bit.
Right.
Yeah, but what? Nowhere in your letter are you excluding them. So why would they think that they're not included?
Do what?
What are we talking about? The letter?
Yeah.
Why did you bring out trans?
Because this group that wanted to modify and change our letter, this is a stance that they fight for.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
We don't want to group those two things together because we have nothing to do with that. This is completely different.
I got you now. I understand, Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I didn't want to put our name on something that I don't agree with.
Right.
That's what that post was about.
I get you. Did they explain exactly what they wanted to change, though?
Yeah, they didn't say exactly. They didn't tell us exactly what they wanted to change.
I don't see what more they would want to say. I think you covered everything.
Well, that was the thing. Everybody's participated in this operation. I've gotten tons of messages about it saying this thing was worded perfectly.
Yeah.
And I mean, and
But-
it was a blanket thing for all XJWs throughout the world.
Right.
But this group wanted to take it and use it for their benefit.
No.
Right.
And that's a
Right.
no-no.
It's a
Right.
no-no.
But what this specific person was also insinuating is that Jimmy is the head of this cult and he's being a tyrant when it comes to wording things or when to send it, or like putting all the
What
work
do you
that
mean? That is called a leader.
Well, that's
called a
what
leader.
she has a problem with that. That's basically what she's saying.
I'm confused.
And that's what she's like. It was over on the Facebook comments. If you went over there, I can't remember exactly the way she worded it. But under the Facebook comments, you can go down and see it. Oh God, how she say something about a process?
Yeah. It was a long message, so if anybody wants to check it out, go to Jimmy Bell's Facebook page because I exited the tab already. Sorry.
Yeah, but she was trying to say, people could do this the way they want. I'm like, well, this is an operation. This is a project. Projects, there needs to be a process. And she's like, well, I think some processes just harm people. And I'm like, okay, so let me ask you this. The speed limit is 65 miles an hour. If everybody just wanted to go this whatever speed they want to, will that harm the public? And then I said, what about when it comes to prescription medications? If your doctor says, hey, this is the process that you need to take these pills, are you going to say, oh, you're being tyrannical, I'll just take them whenever the hell I want to?
Exactly. Like, don't tell me
that's going to harm somebody.
Right.
So
exactly, Jimmy.
this whole argument, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to be nice.
That's what I tell Tony all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm trying. I mean,
I'm trying to be nice because I know that whatever I put out in public is being seen by a lot of people, and I got to make sure that when I say something that, it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be nice, but in my head, I'm like, why in the fuck am I having this conversation?
Right.
It's a waste of time at this point. And it's like, what more can you say or do? Like, you're speaking plain English. Everybody is grown here, grown adults. We don't have to keep explaining the same thing as if you're talking to a 5-year-old. No, like,
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like someone that we recently dealt with, but
it's not. But I mean, and bless her heart.
No, I'm just saying, like, it does, because
I mean,
it's like, the point is like, when you're dealing with something like that, I get you exactly, Jimmy.
Right.
It's just like, I can't even believe I'm dealing with this right now.
Exactly.
Like, you get so frustrated. It's so overwhelming. It's like, you just want to throw your phone. Like, this is not it.
Now, normally I would not engage, but sometimes after, you have a little bit of God's leaf and you don't have anything else going on and you're like, oh, you want to do this? Okay, let's do this.
Exactly. Thank you.
And to answer Michelle's question, when she's asking, well, why didn't you tell them that they can just add their separate letter? He did, Michelle. He said it on countless times.
He said that so many times.
Countless times on his own videos. We've all stated that was common sense, that of course you can add your own letter. It might even help. And Jimmy even said, if you do write your own letter, scan it because we might need it for a future project. So there's more than enough evidence to what Jimmy to our intentions. You know what I'm saying? People want to twist every little thing that we do and say.
And see, the other thing is she was wanting me to apologize to the volunteers.
Right.
That would be her way of saying the people that sent in the Operation Spotlight letter. Why in the hell?
They don't represent us.
Hold on. The people that sent the letters in, that's who she wants me to apologize to. Why do I have to apologize for something that wasn't meant for them?
Right.
So
We do have somebody
well,
backstage here. Butterfly. Oh, I'm sorry, Butterfly Queen. I was just about to put you on. Click that link if anybody wants to join, and then I can add you to the stage. She just hopped off.
okay. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just ridiculous,
Yeah.
and I wanted to put that. I wanted to say something about it because I wanted to actually tell you guys we weren't going to tell anybody, but
Right.
apparently I needed to go ahead and say why I put that post out.
Well, I appreciate it, Jimmy. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's
Yeah.
frustrating, and it sucks that you have to deal with that. You know what? That's why when you said, you know what, I got no problem being the face of the operation, I said,
Yeah.
you know, bravo, Jimmy, because that is a
Right.
hard responsibility. Like, it is
Yep.
not easy.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
mean, but that's fine because I've been trained to be able to handle this criticism, these slings and arrows. Go ahead and throw them at me. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you're not going to mess with the people behind the scenes that are working on this other stuff on my team. That's why I told
Right.
my team, listen, y'all don't need the stress. Y'all don't need the headaches. Y'all don't need these comments
Right.
coming at you.
Yeah.
I can handle it.
That's exactly what I said in a separate situation that I'm not going to talk about, but King Tony knows what I'm talking about. Is I
Mhm.
said the exact same thing. I was willing to put myself forward because I see that I can
Yeah.
add the type of persona that is needed for this type of activism. I can also handle it as well. I'm direct. I'm forward. I'm not afraid to give people constructive criticism, and I will tell them when they are wrong. But that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I'm gonna just quit or throw everything away just because I'm upset about one little thing.
Right.
I can put that aside. I can put the differences aside for the greater good of the community or for an operation like this, which
Yeah.
can bring people together if you let it. But if you
Yeah, and
continue to treat people like Jimmy like that and project all of your insecurities on other people and
Mhm.
demand apologies or do smear campaigns like we just saw the video
Yeah.
10 minutes ago, what do
Mhm.
you expect? Do you expect that people are going to be nice to you back? No.
Well, here's
But
the
we are
thing.
strong enough to do that.
Here's the thing, and this is the reason why we're bringing this out to the audience, because we are showing you the actions of some of these XJWs out there.
Right.
And I want people to be aware of this because I have told everybody time and time again, started in 2020, be careful who you follow in the XJW community.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm gonna say it again. And I was talking with another individual this past week, and I was like, man, there's gonna come a day when I'm gonna have a come to Jesus moment, and I'm gonna start naming names. Because I have a list of about 20 people in this XJW community that I know for 100% fact that they're controlled opposition and they do this shit.
Stop playing,
Really?
Yes.
Stop playing, Jimmy.
If you would have been on, okay. So I've had a conversation with a child sexual abuse survivor.
Okay.
You would not believe the legal crap that she had to deal with because of some members in the XJW community.
Whoa.
When I tell y'all this is bigger than you can imagine, I'm not lying or making this stuff up.
Right.
Because what happened with Operation Spotlight, and see, I've been here before. They've attacked me before. So I know what I'm talking about. And I've been through this crap. So I'm having to cut down on my cussing. But Jesus, I just lost my train of thought. Hold on.
That they've attacked you before.
So Operation Spotlight, this operation came out of the blue. Okay, we got it out. We got it out fast. We moved on it. It spread to 30 countries. I know at least 500, 600 letters have been sent in. We've got letters going to senators. There's no way that Watchtower could have stopped this.
Yeah.
No way.
Right.
So what do? They call on their little pawns in the XJW community and say, hey, we need you to attack these people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
That is insane.
100% fact.
Wow,
That
that's
is
a good point.
insane. Oh my God.
That's a good point, Jimmy. Very good. And just to let you know, Jimmy, everybody in the chat section a few minutes ago was letting you know, like, they're sorry you went through that, and that
Thanks,
they
y'all.
love you, and that your work is valuable, etc.
I
And
appreciate
then
that,
we
y'all.
yeah, because we do appreciate that.
Yes.
And and it's not like we're gonna do that, you know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna be saying names or bashing people unless it's obvious, like what I had to do.
Mm.
But other than that, I would not waste my time with that either. But
Right.
sometimes it forces me to be that type, because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let those things slide in the public sphere. And that's just me, because I know Jimmy would have said, oh, don't waste your time with that, like he did last week, you know what I'm saying? But I told Tony
I got
and
your
other
perspective.
people.
I understood tonight why you wanted to do this, and I was cool with that.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you for understanding, because I knew that you were
Thank
hesitating
you,
last
Jimmy,
time, and I didn't
for
want to push
allowing
it. I was
us.
like, let me
No, don't say
let
it
it go.
loud. Don't say it loud. I mean,
No, I mean like
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a freaking overlord again.
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean please forgive me.
No. You see, we can
I
see through
meant
the
like
BS.
yes. I'm concurring with what Ruby is saying is what I'm trying.
Yeah.
Let
Sometimes you have to. But otherwise, like Jimmy said, there's a list, and he knows it. That's for him to know, and that's not what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we are appropriate.
Yeah, I know some. Let's just say I know some stuff about some of these people in this community,
Oh my God.
and
Yeah.
it's not even. It's not nothing personal.
Tea time.
It's not anything personal in their personal life.
Right.
Their personal lives are fine. I don't even care about their personal lives. It's not even about that. It's their actions within the community.
Right.
That's what I have a problem with.
Right. Okay.
And
So
they've
I'm
been doing
glad we did this.
Yeah.
and they've been doing it for years. That's why whenever anybody puts something together, like there was a big protest that was going to be going on at JW headquarters back in 2017 or 2018. I think it
Yes.
was 2017.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
2017.
there
Yep.
was a
I
lot of
remember it.
there was a lot of momentum for that. People were like on board, but then you had some people that tried to sabotage the whole
Exactly.
thing.
Wow.
I totally understand you. I remember the drama back then, but
So
Yeah.
there
think about
wasn't.
sorry.
Go ahead.
So think about it. Who benefits from something like this?
Watchtower.
Watchtower,
Right.
Oh
because they
yeah.
don't want people uniting. And I'm going to tell you right now, Watchtower, we're coming out with a 2.0. So you go
Yeah.
ahead and call your little lackeys up and get them prepared, because a 2.0 Operation Spotlight is coming out, and you're not going to like it.
Yeah. Good one, Jimmy. Good one. So thank you for that, Jimmy. And I'm glad that we did this, got it over
Sorry.
with. We can move on.
Sorry, I didn't
From
wear
this.
my red wig. I'm sorry.
You need a red hat, or you need a red hoodie or something.
I got my Make America Great Again hat.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say it, but I was like, red hat. I hinted at it. Okay, great. So now would you like to move forward on the news segment?
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Yes, you could come back when we're done if you want,
No
for whatever
problema.
subject you want to talk about. All right, so we're gonna do a lightning round of news that Jimmy would like to bring up, and
Yeah.
then if anybody wants to touch on those things, hit the link at the top. We can discuss it. We're not gonna debate. We're just discussing opinions. And then after we're done with that, I'm going to do a little controversial 10-minute rant. And then we're going to talk about Thomas Macy versus Trump. That got me on a loop. And don't worry, I'm going to do my rant later. That's why I kept the red wig on, because there's just so much to talk about. So go ahead, Jimmy, take the wheel.
All right. So we're not sorry, but usually the first hour, y'all hear the news, but hey, you're getting it now. So here we go. I'll go ahead and let everybody know that because of the crap I had to deal with this week and some other stuff that I had to take care of, I wasn't able to keep up with the news the way I usually do.
Right.
So I'm actually reading this news blast for the first time. I just went, printed it off, and there's some things I do know about because I keep up with the Right Report every morning. But let's go back to last Tuesday, and we will cover Tuesday through, I think it's just the weekend. Yeah, through this past weekend. So nothing from yesterday, nothing from today. So Tuesday, March 4th, initial Doge findings reveal $80 million in wasteful spending at the Department of Defense. Are we really surprised about that? No.
Yeah. Nope.
Trump says he is just getting started in speech to the U.S. Congress. Yeah, buckle up, buttercups.
I hope he is. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. You're
Go
hey,
ahead.
you keep throwing in whatever you need to say. It keeps the show fun. So
Go ahead.
Tuesday, Pope Francis clinical conditions stable. He's going to come up more I did see he's going to come up more in a couple of other news blasts. Canada, Mexico blast historic Trump tariffs, threaten retaliation. But they don't want to talk about how Canada has been tariffing the crap out of the United States over steel, some food items, things like that. Yeah, up towards like 290%. Look that up. Senator Elise Slotkin delivers Democratic response to the Trump address. Did you see that?
No,
I didn't either.
I didn't see. Honestly, I was just like you this week. I didn't see nothing. I wasn't even on the internet.
Yeah,
Like
it
on
was
Facebook or X. I was not there at all. So sorry.
and I'll make a comment. Should I do it now? I'll make a comment about that later. Just remind me to make a comment about that later about not keeping up with stuff on a daily basis.
Okay.
Let me make a note of not keeping up because I do want to make a point on that a little later. Okay, so let me just write that down. Okay, Al Green removed for heckling Trump at his address. We all saw that.
Yes.
That was great.
Yes.
That was
we
funny.
talked about that already in full, right? Last week we did the watch party.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
U.S. stock market falls amid trade war fears. Judge blocks Trump order threatening funding for institutions that provide gender affirming care for minors. A judge blocks this order. So what's that tell you about this judge? Secret Service director makes 13-year-old honorary agent. Abbey Gate terror suspect charged and extradited to the U.S. Now, when I read that, when I was sitting here looking at this, I'm not sure what the Abbey Gate thing is. That one of the gates outside of Jerusalem? I don't know.
If anybody knows, let me know in the comments because I have no clue.
I can look it up and find out. But Abbey Gate, I don't know exactly what that is.
Okay.
Zelensky vows to make things right with Trump and negotiate peace. Scientists genetically engineer mice with thick hair. Okay. Hold on. Scientists genetically engineer mice with thick hair like the extinct woolly mammoth. I didn't see that. Yeah. They're freaking playing Dr. What's that? Dr. Moreau, splicing everything together. Tesla charging stations torched in apparent arson near Boston. That was Tuesday of last week.
Wow.
Any comments on the Abbey Gate? Let me see.
I don't think so. Nothing yet. So if anybody has a comment, let me know.
Faded in San Diego, I could use a little more hair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Wednesday, March 5th. U.S. cuts off intelligence sharing with Ukraine. Slush fund handled by John Podesta gave billions to charities. Y'all remember the name John Podesta? I'm telling you now, because that's going to go mainstream. Trump delays tariffs on the USMCA goods from Mexico. New DNA evidence emerges in Kohlberger, Idaho murders case. Oh, really? I need to look that up. Republican Al Green censured for protesting Trump speech. Federal judge strikes down California gun law. Okay, so that's a good judge. He's following the Constitution. Myrtle Beach fire forces evacuations. House Speaker Mike Johnson's chief of staff arrested on DUI. Really? I did not know that one.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
I don't know nothing.
Yeah, House Speaker Mike Johnson's chief of staff arrested on a DUI. You figured that would have been all over the freaking media.
Right. And I didn't hear not one peep.
I didn't hear anything about that. Trump issues last warning to Hamas to release all remaining hostages held in Gaza. Sanctuary city mayors have stated they are willing to go to jail over immigration protections. Well, you might want to go ahead and get fitted for an orange suit then. All right, so I mentioned John Podesta a little while ago, but that goes into connection with Pizzagate goes mainstream on Joe Rogan with Ian Carroll.
Oh, yes, I know that was a great interview, even though I didn't watch the video yet or anything, but I'm so glad that, and in the same week of that interview, Candace did her own interview with Theo Vaughn, I believe, and it was about the exact same thing. People are finally waking up and realizing the Jewish influence and the pro-Israel influence and the AIPAC, etc. Everything that has to do with that foreign lobby for a so-called ally. But I'm gonna let you finish because that's a whole nother rant.
Yeah, that's all.
Get to.
Well, and for the folks that may not know what Pizzagate is, look it up because this goes into some very dark shit.
Yeah,
all right.
Mentally prepare yourself before you do that because I was depressed. I was very angry and depressed, and I had to step away from that. So before you go down a rabbit hole, prepare yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Kash Patel and the FBI have officially opened an investigation into former director James Comey. And before someone says, well, why is that important? Look up FISA, FISA, and find out what that is, what that entails, and why that's important, because James Comey is behind this. I will go ahead and let you folks know that when he was being investigated, they tried to pull the Freedom of Information Act to get information on documents and everything. But Comey is spelled Comey. Yes. But when they went into the database to search for Comey, they couldn't find anything. So then they were like, wait a second, let's look at Corny. Corny. Because if you type the word out, the R and the N look like an M.
I see. Okay.
So they purposely used corny instead of Comey. So when people went to investigate and look up his name, they wouldn't find anything.
Right. Yeah.
So
oldest trick in the book.
that's a whole nother rabbit hole, folks.
Yeah.
Musk suggests the U.S. should privatize the Postal Service and Amtrak. I don't think it's a bad idea.
That might be a good idea. Somebody answered your question, Jimmy. Rebecca says, Abbey Gate, one of the gates of the Kabul International Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. A reference to the scene of a terrorist attack on August 26, 2021.
Okay, so with that said, go back to that Abbey Gate terrorist suspect charged and extradited to the U.S. So apparently they caught that person from that terror attack. Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca, right?
Thank you, Rebecca A. Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's what we do here. We help each other out, y'all. We try to get the information. Thank you. All right, so let's move into Thursday. SpaceX Starship explodes mid-flight in second failure of 2025. Did it hit the firmament? I wonder. I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Trump delays tariffs on Mexico and Canada trade goods. Trump administration fires over 20,000 federal workers. USDA ordered to reinstate 6,000 fired workers pending review. I wonder if those were people that refused to take the Fauci ouchie. I'm going to check that. Federal workers file class act order. Okay. USDA ordered to reinstate 6,000 fired workers pending review. Federal workers file class action. So
Right.
I'm going to look and see what that is. Okay. Lawsuits over class action lawsuits over these mass firings. European Union leaders approved defense spending surge. Okay. Sean Diddy Combs faces a new indictment for forced labor.
Wow. That's left field. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah. 8 Democratic states sue education department over frozen funds. I guess they really need some money. The head of the FBI New York office, James Dennehy, was given a bagpipe send-off. So, yeah, he was kicked out. Doge effort to sell off federal properties inadvertently exposes CIA black site in Northern Virginia. Damn. Trump sets new limits on Musk's downsizing of federal workforce. Trump signs executive order to establish government Bitcoin reserve. And see, I wish I knew more about the crypto crap because I got nothing to say. I can't.
I think the government is against it because if that really was implemented, we will no longer be slaves to this deep state. We would be free to transfer and make money and do everything, and they're not going to have it. So in my opinion, I think that's why they don't want to promote that. They don't want to educate the public about that. You would have to do that on your own. And then we have laws that would actually prevent you from trying to make money in the crypto world, or else you go to jail for fraud.
And see, and what I do know is these things are supposed to be decentralized money, which goes against the fiat banking, central banking system. So that's why a lot of these folks are like totally against it. I do know that. So, but then, that's a whole nother subject. I'm not even going to get into it. I wish I knew more about it. Okay. Trump says he'd be willing to release reports on assassination attempts against him. Do it, Trump.
I hope he does. Yeah.
U.S. charges Chinese hackers and government officials in a broad cyber crime campaign. So some Chinese hackers and government officials here in the United States. Swamp creatures. All right, that was Thursday. Friday, Pope Francis' condition remains stable. Wasn't he on the other one? Oh, wait, Pope Francis' clinical condition stable. So that was on Tuesday, and Friday, he's still stable. North Korea unveils nuclear-powered submarine. Y'all don't worry about North Korea. North Korea, what they're trying to do is build up North Korea.
We got bigger problems that are closer to us, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah, that's not even it. Don't get scared about North Korea and whatever the mainstream media says about them. Trump says he sent a letter to Iran urging negotiations on nuclear weapons. The Right Report did talk about that, so I knew about that one. Trump tells crypto leaders at the White House summit he's committed to helping their industry. This is why I need to really go buy some XRP. What's this one? Woman strips naked and walks screaming down the aisle on a Southwest flight.
Wow.
Okay.
Somebody had a mental breakdown. Yeah.
It's kind of cool me reading some of this stuff that I didn't even know about. It's like, what?
You're having live reactions. And I love that. That's why when I do the show, I don't prepare anything. I have everything live.
Yeah, just go with it.
Yeah.
Trump appoints Laura Ingraham, Maria Bartiromo to Kennedy Center board. Revealed. Now, this is a whole weird thing. Revealed. Gene Hackman's wife died of hantavirus. Actor died of cardiovascular disease. So I don't know what antivirus is technically, but I do know in the story they said there were mouse droppings, and that could have played a factor in her death. Is that antivirus?
I have no clue. But is that the Hollywood couple that recently
Yes.
was her
Yes.
husband and the dog, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That's fishy.
Oh, totally. I have heard them die 3 different ways already.
Yeah, like and then to say there's no foul play, no suspicions or anything. I'm sorry, I don't believe that.
And I did see, and I can't verify this, but
Mhm.
I did see a post that said that Gene Hackman was actually supposed to be one of the first witnesses in the Diddy case.
Mm,
Now, I don't know how true that is, but I saw
okay.
that.
Mhm.
And another thing is kind of funny. You know how we talked about them manipulating our DNA and stuff
Mhm.
like that? You know how the powers to be like to do that?
Yeah.
You know, that's what they were doing with CV and all this.
Yep.
Have you noticed his name? Gene Hackman.
Hackman, Gene Hackman.
You get it?
Yes, that's weird, right?
Somebody brought that out the other day. I was like, Gene
Hack.
Oh my God, you've got to be
Gene
kidding me.
Hack.
Hacking the DNA, hacking your genes,
Yeah,
changing your
exactly.
DNA, changing your DNA. Yeah, that was. I just thought that was I thought that was interesting. Okay, Newark officer killed, another critically injured in a New Jersey shooting.
Wow.
Moon mission ends with spacecraft on its side, unable to recharge batteries.
Yep.
I don't believe anything about the moon.
Yeah, exactly. Thrifty said in the comments that the hantavirus is spread by rat poop. The dog visited a vet earlier that week and apparently died from complications of treatment. And I guess that's what they're saying, that it spread to the humans, right? Because they said the wife died like that.
Yeah,
And
rat
then
poop. So
right.
yeah, I heard rat poop. I didn't hear hantavirus. So
Yeah, or
look.
hot virus. Usually 30 cases per year. Out west is normal, Beverly says. Lisa says Santa Santa virus is contracted from certain mice through their droppings and urine. They didn't find anything in the house, but other buildings on the property. Okay, so at least that gives us a bit of an idea. If you're interested in that, definitely look up that story, because this is what the whole news hour is about: is to pique interest, and then you can do research and you can come back here and let us know.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you everybody for
Yes,
chiming
thank
in.
you.
Hey, we're all learning here. This is an
Yes.
educational. This is for educational purposes only.
I try to say it all the time.
All right. Paris train service resumes slowly after World War II bomb defused. Cyclone Alfred weakens in Australia. I do know that one of our members of Operation Spotlight, Shelley, her family's from Australia,
Yeah.
and she was really concerned about their safety when that was getting ready to hit. So she updated us the other day that everybody is good, everybody's fine. So that's cool. So
Okay, good.
yay. Head of federal whistleblower office drops legal battle challenging his firing. All right, that is Friday. All right, let's go to the weekend. Last page. Excuse me. Secret Service shoots armed man in confrontation near the White House. Pope. Who really knows?
Yeah, they're going to keep that going for a long time.
Said who really knows? This man's been in critical condition. He's been stable condition. He's been on a ventilator. Wasn't he on a ventilator
I think
too?
that's just a distraction, because
it totally is.
that's gonna bring, like, the Pope, like, for millions of Catholics or all around the world, that's gonna distract them from what's really happening at home.
Well, there's that, and the deep state is waiting to announce his death because they're waiting on whatever Trump and the military, whatever they release. So, like, if like a big story comes out that exposes the deep state, next thing you know, the Pope's going to die.
Yeah, so that's coming. Like, prepare yourself for that one. That's not going to be a shocker when we find out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's already dead anyway. but
Yeah.
that's beside the point. NFL wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. named as a defendant in updated complaint against Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Uh-oh.
Really?
Wow. Here we
A lot.
go.
So Odell Beckham Jr. named as a defendant. So what did he do? Against, we'll see how that goes. Well, whatever.
Yep.
Canada's next PM, Mark Carney, vows to win trade war with Trump. Yeah, good luck, Mark. Israel cuts off. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I was gonna say. So Justin Trudeau is finally out, like officially.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Okay, because that was
there was
weird.
a picture I saw on Twitter today.
Yes,
that he was making his face and carrying a chair.
Yeah, and sticking his tongue out, and like, who does that? You're a leader of a country. Like, what? I don't get these people sometimes. It's very confusing.
Yeah. So apparently he's out.
Okay.
Israel cuts off electricity supply to Gaza, affecting a desalination plant. 5 injured after small plane crashes into residential area in Pennsylvania. Well, there we have our weekly plane crash.
Another one. And you know what? I think those plane crashes from the very beginning is to like reignite the fear of planes from the whole 9/11 trauma. So my generation of people who were afraid, who actually witnessed that, it's like it's happening all over again. It's triggering that response of being afraid of flying planes.
Same playbook.
Like, what? Yeah.
It's the same thing they do over and over again. ICE arrest Palestinian activist with green card at Columbia University. DHS has begun performing polygraph tests on employees to find leakers. And as of today's morning report with the Right Report, Kristi Noem has identified 2 of those leakers, and they are being taken care of right now.
Leakers for what again?
They were tipping off the illegal aliens in certain states, in certain cities, letting them know that ICE was coming to come get them.
Oh, they were giving them a warning, letting them know. Oh,
yeah, they were giving them a heads up. Hey, y'all, ICE is coming.
Okay, so is that considered like obstruction?
I would say so.
Okay, all right, I understand.
Because you're trying to bring the illegal aliens to justice.
Right.
And if you're tipping them off, you're obstructing justice.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Tesla facilities face wave of attacks. Trump golf resort vandalized by pro-Palestinian activist. DOJ investigating major egg producers amid soaring prices. 2 days of clashes and revenge killings in Syria leave more than 1,000 people dead. Yeah, that's a whole thing there. The Right Report talked about that today. U.S. fighter jets scrambled to intercept aircraft flying near Mar-a-Lago. I don't even know what that was about. So that is your weekend recap, or week recap from last week. So there's that.
Okay.
Any questions? Thoughts?
All right, everybody. Let us know if you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments. Let them know. Let it rip in the comments right now. Michelle said, I don't believe anything they are telling us about Gene and his wife or his dog, nor do I believe anything they are telling us about P. Diddy.
Well, there's a lot of cover up going on right now. A lot of covering up. And here's the thing. The cover up will always get you.
Yeah.
It will always get you.
Yeah. And
that's
and sometimes you might fall for it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you might fall for the, like, I know I totally fell for the fear of the assassination thing. I actually thought it was real and etc. We're not going to dive into that, but I did go through that roller coaster and I kind of regretted that. You know, like I put myself through all that stress for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we do fall.
Well, see, the thing is, Ruby, that's natural. That it happens because it happened to me in the beginning of my waking up process too. There were some things that I was like, I got all freaked out about until I figured out, oh, this is what's happening. And this goes back to the point that I was going to make about not keeping up with the news on a daily basis, especially for folks that have been at this for a while and they have an idea of what's going on. You can see the deep state playbook. You know what they're doing. If you keep up with it on a daily basis and just inundate yourself in this stuff, it will eventually lower your vibrations. And I say that because if that's all you're doing and you're not going out and interacting in nature or doing some type of mindfulness or something else to get your vibrations high, then that's just it's creating a communal lower vibration by people doing this. And so, and here's the other thing, and this is what this is what I think that's going on. I think the vibrational energy of humans is being measured in a way to where the folks that are, let's just say the white hats, they can tell whether or not they can release information. If the vibration is high, then they can be like, all right, we need to release this information because the folks are ready for it. If our vibrations are low, they can't release some information because if they do, because of the lower vibrational field, then people are going to get all pissed off. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be crap. So I did take the week off. Well, not purposely, but I did find that I was a little more in tune with some other things as well, because I kind of know how this is all going to play out. I just don't know when or what. So, and you can tell by our shows, we'll talk about something big this week, but next week there's going to be something else.
Yeah, it's never ending. Yeah.
And the thing is I think what people are expecting is kind of like with Watchtower. Watchtower said, oh, there's going to be Armageddon and the churches are going, or the government's going to turn against it. You're going to see these big cataclysmic events, and then you will know the end is coming.
Right.
That's not how this is playing out. This is being played out in stages. This is a continuous progression of raising our energies. And the more we wake up, the more information that will come out.
Right.
That's why we've been trying to get people to wake up to stuff, because this, and I put this post out, this isn't about left versus right. It's not about good versus evil. The true battle that we are facing right now as all humans is knowledge versus ignorance.
Right.
That's where we're at.
Exactly. Good point, Jimmy. I have to take a bathroom break really quickly, but there are two questions that you can get to while I come back. The first one is from Rebecca A. She's asking you, if the controlled opposition in the XJW community, do you think they get paid? And the second question is from Michelle Price. She says, Jimmy, do you know anything about the gold coming into New York? So I'm going to let Jimmy answer that, and I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Did she highlight those? All right. So I guess the first one was, are these XJWs that are controlled opposition getting paid? I can't say for sure whether they are or not, but I will give you the pattern of what the deep state does for their controlled opposition. Book deals. Book deals are a very good way to launder money. And so when you have a politician come out, this random politician comes out with a book, that more than likely is the money that the deep state wanted to pay that person, but they have to make it look legit. So they have a book deal, and that's where that money goes into. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe look to see what XJWs have have book deals. I'm not saying that every XJW that has a book deal is controlled opposition. I'm not saying that, because I know for a fact Stop the Shunning is working on something, and I don't view her as controlled opposition. But that's one avenue that they use to pay people off. Another avenue that can be used is through Patreon, and making money off YouTube, making money off TikTok and X. There's also a way where people can buy subscribers. For $50 or $60, you can buy subscribers. So, and then of course, if you have a lot of subscribers on your channel and people are tuning into that, then of course you're going to make some money. So that could be a way to where some money's being funneled to some of these people. I can't say for a fact that it is. I'm just showing you examples of ways they do it. Take that for what it's worth. What was the second question?
The second question was about gold. If you know anything about gold coming into New York.
Gold going into New York? I do not. I cannot say that I do about that. The only thing I can say about the gold is what they took out of the Vatican.
Right.
So I don't know what's going into New York. Right? I'll need to look that up. And see, that's the other thing. My main source of information that I'll look at.
Yeah.
I haven't watched him in like 9 days. So I'm like, I tell my wife, I was like, I need to go out and watch X22. And then I ended up on Twitter or X or Facebook dealing with some dumbass thinking that I owe people apologies. So
I get
sorry.
you. I get you. Here we go. Welcome to the stage, Donald J. Gonzalez.
Jesus.
Hey, I got a question for Jimmy on the gold.
Sure.
Somebody asked about the gold, right? Am I right?
Right.
Okay. Maybe it's a leading question, but could it be that gold is not coming into America, which it is, I know, but that it's leaving other lands, like it's leaving Britain, it's leaving other countries?
That I can say yes. That I can say yes. That's very likely.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. We're getting our money back.
So money is just like a natural force. It's going to where people like it. And right now, the dollar is going to be stronger. Gold is going to be stronger. I think we're past $3,000 an ounce since Donald Trump became president, huh?
I think it is about 3,000.
So and naturally, it's going to follow.
And we were told long ago by the Q boards that gold will destroy the Fed. So for folks that know this, the Q stuff and everything, we already know that the Fed is gone. The Federal Reserve is going to be done away with.
Now, is it going to be the young people love crypto? The young people love crypto. Some of the older, but it's predominantly the 20, 30, 40-year-old kids.
Right.
Guys like me, man, we'll just go gold and silver and property or our tools. Because I'll confess, I don't know nothing. I try to educate myself on crypto. I can't do it.
Now, John's really good. John Leisure, he's really good about it. He's tried to tell me a few things and help me out there. But I do know I really want to get some XRP because I think that's going to balloon like Bitcoin did.
Yeah. All right. Now, when you bring up the Federal Reserve, I think that was a good comment that Michelle made long ago. I think it was on Discord or something. And she stated about the Federal Reserve, like if Trump or this administration was really serious about that, the Federal Reserve would be abolished. And I totally agree with her. And then I shared a tweet from Thomas Massie. He literally said that, like he was for that. And then there was a whole showdown between Thomas Massie and Trump, which is why I put it in the title, because we need to talk about that. Before, I have always said that Trump, he did run on America First values. And what I am seeing by his actions, that he is not America First. And I will be the first one to denounce all of the things that he is doing right now that goes extremely against America First. He is
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
About Trump when it comes to Massie.
Okay, we're on Massie now.
Well, yeah, because I was linking it together with the Federal Reserve. Like that's something that would be America first, right? We want to
Correct.
free ourselves from being those slaves. That is
Yes.
the reserve.
Right.
Go ahead, Jesse.
I disagree with that point. Ruby,
Mm-hmm.
respectfully disagree with the host.
Okay, go ahead.
And during the 1980 recession, Ronald Reagan came up with a famous slogan, said, "Stay the course," because we fell into a massive recession. Because the way it had been played out, a lot of the tax cuts and a lot of the economic factors that led to the 80s being what the bound was, it didn't go into effect about till 83. And Reagan knew it. And so if us that lived through it, we went through a severe recession in the 1980s. I remember when I was a kid. And Reagan was always saying, "Stay the course." I remember it stayed in my head. It was a famous saying that Reagan would say, "Stay the course, stay the course." And I think that's what he's trying to do with Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is correct. I agree with you, Ruby. But there's a game plan that the Republicans have. And Thomas Massie has voted for the continuing resolution in the past, but this time he's sick and tired of it.
Right.
But this is the neat thing about the Republican Party. There's room for disagreement, and we fight it out in the primaries, where if you look at the Democrats, like our friend Jake and them, they all go lock, stock, and barrel together like sheep over the hill. There's no room for dissent.
Right, I agree with that.
So in the Republican Party, you're going to hear Thomas Massie, and then Rand Paul. Rand Paul is backing him up too. So you're going to see some people in the Senate, but then you're going to see some Democrats voting with Trump in the Senate on the continuing resolution. So it's all a game of football right now. Trump has a plan. He wants to fry bigger fish, and he needs a continuing resolution.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to get back to Ruby's comment, because I was a little distracted because I was reading a message from one of my contacts in the UK that just said that all gold in the UK is being repatriated by Trump's orders, apparently 4 flights daily. So apparently he's getting the gold back that belongs to the US Republic, not the corporation. Because you got to remember, the corporation was bleeding us dry and sending money out to all these other countries so that those other countries would fall in line with the deep state agenda. So there's some things that Trump has to do overseas that may not look like he's being America first, but he's righting some wrongs when it comes to the financial stuff.
And I do understand how that may be like that kind of an answer would satisfy Jimmy, right? But it doesn't to me, quite honestly. I don't care what the optics are, whether he's playing a game here or the long run, or like Jesse said, that he has a plan. I've heard all of these stances already before, but it still bothers me because we do not want to waste any more time on these games, quite honestly. And I do know that Michelle agrees with that, because I shared this.
Waste any more time on these games.
Sorry, I have to mute Jesse because I could hear myself. So this is what Thomas put, right? And this was before the whole showdown between him and Trump. He says, "I just reintroduced and the Federal Reserve Board Abolition Act, HR 1846, right?" And then I shared this to Michelle because I was like, this is your guy, Michelle. This is our guy. This is America's guy. He cares about truly America First values. He's the only one who I have ever seen actually present something like this. You see, this is what speaks to me. America First. This is what speaks to me. And like I said last week, when Trump did the anti-Semitic things, that did not speak America First. So we have to be very transparent and honest when Trump does things wrong, because objectively it is wrong to us as Americans. Now,
I get where you're coming from. I really do. And there's been a lot of times to where I'm like, oh my God, can we just move on with this? But I do believe that there's always a reason Trump does something like this, to bring attention to it, to get people talking about it, to test the waters, so to speak. How many people would be all on board with ending the Fed? A lot of people would. So I think there's I do believe that there's a game going on there right now. So I understand where you're coming from, though, because there's times I'm like, oh my God, can this movie just end?
I agree with you, Jimmy, 100%. And I agree, and especially the part that you said where you agree with Ruby. Let me just throw this in the continuing resolution, Ruby. We don't know. We're not privy. It's probably 10,000 pages thick. There might be booby traps in there for the Democrats themselves. There might be money to prosecute some of the crimes that were committed the last 4 years. So there's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of chess going on back and forth.
Yeah.
But this is what we do know, and this is what bothers me, is how Donald Trump is basically bought and paid for by AIPAC. You see the number there. And then you see Thomas Massie, 0 from AIPAC, right? This is what I'm talking about, guys. When I speak to people and they think that I am ignorant about Trump or whatever, no, we do know this. And when he does things, it's most likely because he is paid from them. That's why I said long time ago we should abolish any PACs, all PACs. I don't care if it's foreign or domestic. It should all be grassroots support for these politicians. If Thomas Massie can do it, why can't any other politician do that? So if you're taking money from a foreign entity, PAC, person, whatever it may be, you are no good to me. And so that's why I'm honest enough to say that to people, that I am not a Trump supporter in the terms that you may be thinking that I am a supporter, because I do not support that. But when we are confronted with the two politicians, either Kamala or Trump, it was like I felt like I had to vote for Trump because I couldn't let Kamala win. You understand? It's like they always want to put us in a corner when we vote, as if there's nobody better, more equipped, more competent, who isn't bought and paid for by an AIPAC or any other PAC. I don't care where it's from. So I am going to dig deep on this because it is important. We know that Trump is already paid for by AIPAC. So when he attacks somebody like a Massie in Congress, that is almost a direct attack to us as Americans, because Thomas Massie is America first. He cares about America first values. Why would Trump do that? Whether or not he wanted him to fall in line or whatever, I think it's a big mistake what he did, what he said. And I disagree 1,000% with the direction that Trump is taking. That's not what I voted for. Like, that's not what I want him to do, is to start turning on our own party, on people who actually care. So for him to say something like that, and then to say that he's going to be directing the attack against Massie, absolutely not Trump. Complete mistake. And I'm not gonna bypass that.
Yeah, I totally appreciate where you're coming from. Now, because of the way I've seen the way things have played out so many times, it's like, okay, I know what's been said, I know what's being shown, and I hate to even say this again, but we got to watch and see how this all plays out. If it continued down to the point that you're highlighting, Ruby, then I'd be like, no, we don't need to be doing this. I disagree with this. But I'm at a point right now, because I feel like we're watching a movie, as Michelle likes to say. I'm just waiting to see what happens next, is kind of where I'm at with all this.
And let me tell you, as a player in the movie, you remember that commercial? What's my role? What's my motivation? What's my role? Let me tell you what the Republican Party line is. That Thomas Massie is not carrying them. So whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, there's politics, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And the Republican Party is driving this continuing resolution, and Thomas Massie is not playing. And so, listen, if he's morally right, like you say, then that's a fight he's going to have to put up. And a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives back him up, especially in his state of Kentucky. But it's something, there was 217 Republicans voted against him. 217. That means the Republican Party has made a decision and Thomas Massie is bucking it. So that's a fight he's going to have to do. A lot of Republicans are not going to up. They're giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt.
Right. And that's another angle that I am willing to accept because it is the truth. But here we go. Michelle joined the stage. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I couldn't resist because every time Jimmy says, Jimmy, you know, I love you as a person, but every time you say we must wait and see and just it's the thinking of just trust the plan. My personal feeling on it is I feel like I've seen enough from Trump.
Right.
Okay, because like I'm not gonna lie, I did vote for him in 2020. Okay, and I saw what happened in 2020. I mean, anyone who had eyes to see saw that Trump. We're not supposed to say it, but you know what we saw. Okay, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
cause problems for your channel,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
go ahead.
we saw what
Hold
we
on a
saw.
second. Are you talking about J6?
Not just that. No, we saw like behind the scenes what was happening with the election.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that the same person you believe won during that round, and instead they put a guy with dementia on the world
Right.
stage. Okay.
Right.
Which also tells me that they think we're so stupid that they can
Mm-hmm.
put a man with like brain problems on the world stage and we're supposed to believe that he's running the free world.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
right there was like right there. It was like so clear as day that the president is a puppet. Okay. And then you fast forward to now and he's working with the likes of Larry Ellison and these AI governance people that Elon want to push AI. So I believe all this stuff that we're seeing on the world stage is to push the new AI world. Okay, where
Mm-hmm.
everything is going to be governed. That's also why they get rid of the federal workers. I'm not saying that sometimes there's too many workers and they're not doing what we're supposed to do. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they're getting rid of humans to replace with AI. And we should all be concerned about this. And Trump is ushering this in at like warp speed. No pun intended. So
Okay.
that's my feeling is that he is
Mm-hmm.
literally in cahoots with all of them.
I have a counterpoint to what the last
Go
point, Michelle. I really
go
like
ahead,
what you.
Jesse. You got 3 minutes to counter. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I'm not going to counter it because I agree with her in a lot of. But let me
Oh,
just
okay.
work on AI. Let me just work on AI.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people I've heard are against Donald Trump working with the AI. But let me tell you something. It's like the atomic bomb. It's like the nuclear weapons. Whether you don't like them or not, it's a matter of reality. You have to live in the virtual world. You have to live in the real world. And AI, imagine an AI, artificial intelligent dog soldier in your
Mm-hmm.
town, and he's programmed to kill everybody. No human will be able to stop him. Now imagine a drone army of AI robots.
Mm-hmm.
It will wipe out humanity as we know it. We have no choice, no matter if we like it or not. We're going to have to go down the AI road. We have to. It will kill us if we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever controls AI is going to dominate the world. So
Right.
Donald Trump has to navigate a real thin line. And he
Mm-hmm.
just so happens to be the bravest American who took a couple bullets more than us. So his voice carries more weight than you and I. That's just a matter of fact. And he knows that artificial intelligence is deadly. Like Michelle says, I agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to embrace this technology and use it for good because the forces of evil want it also.
But that's like saying I have to embrace evil to counteract evil. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that because I know in my
Then you're
heart
dead. You're dead,
down
Michelle.
but I know down the road this is going to lead all of humanity down a really bad path.
Yes, but you're dead if you don't embrace it. It's called
And
détente. It's called détente.
mm-hmm. No, I understand Jesse's point and Michelle's point. That still doesn't mean that we have to go along with it. Number one, we should be rejecting, we should be protesting, we should be giving our grievances out there. And if Jesse is like how Gigi says, even if he's 10% right, even if you are right that we have to go down that road and accept the reality of where we're going, because that's just where we're going, why does Trump's voice, like you said, is stronger, bigger than ours? Why is his voice bought and paid for by pro-Israel APAC? That's my thing. Why can't he be not have any affiliation with none of that? Why accept their money?
Well,
Why
I had
start pushing
Because
bills that
presidents
are
are puppets.
pro-Israel?
They're all bought and paid. That's
Exactly.
why. That's
And that's
why.
why I agree with both of you guys, is because even though I can acknowledge that, yeah, you might think that they're puppets and they have a role to play, like Jimmy says, everybody has a role to play. We're watching a movie, we're gonna watch it play out, right? My
It's
problem
definitely a
is
movie.
influence that money has in our politicians' voices and their votes.
Okay, so
if you have money,
I just want to bring out one fact.
Mhm.
How many politicians have gone into office making $174,000 a year or $200,000 a year? How many of them are now worth millions and billions of dollars?
Exactly. Many of them.
Okay. How many presidents have we had that when they left office, they had more money than they began with?
I get where you're going with this, Jimmy, but I feel like
Hold on.
Trump
I'm just
Yes.
saying.
Go ahead.
Trump
Go
is
ahead.
doing pretty well as it
For
is as a
the
president.
for the sake of the audience,
Yes. Go ahead.
most every one of them has made more money once they've left office, or they were worth more after they left office than they were when they went in. Trump is the only one that lost money when he was in office his first term. When he came out, he was worth less than what he went in for.
In his personal finances, right?
So my question is, if he's bought and paid for, how did he take a loss?
How do you know
because
that,
he
though?
took their money to
How
begin
do I know?
with.
But how do you know? Do you have Trump's financials? I mean, and even if you do, how do you know they're not lying about it?
Because they went and asked for his taxes.
But how do you know that's all legit? Is what I'm saying.
Because it's court filings.
And the court never lies.
It's the Democrats gave up on talking about his taxes because they knew they had nothing there.
I'm just saying, if we know they lie on one side, we know they lie on the other side. You don't know what is really going on. That's all I'm saying.
And it's supposed to be a trusted source because it's coming from the
well,
courts.
again, Ruby's showing this thing up on the screen right now. How do we know that's 100% fact? By the way you're presenting it, Michelle. We were presented with the fact that Trump lost money in his first term. Okay, so if you're going to
deals with people on the side like Pfizer and things like that, you don't think he made any money?
My question is, or my thought process on this is if you're not going to believe that he lost money, then how can you believe the truth about what Ruby put up?
Yeah, and look, in line with what Michelle is saying about not believing, I'm with her. She's got the spirit.
I get it.
But look at what Spyro said. This is a great comment. But look what Spyro said. It's like, then how do you know anything is legit? This line of logic doesn't make sense because then nothing is true. And we do struggle with that because it's like if the courts are saying one thing and then Jimmy is pointing out that he did lose money and that's his personal finances, right?
Yes.
What my thing is despite that may be true, he's still taking money from places like AIPAC. So how can you deny that he's not bought and paid for?
Well, let me answer that. Michelle has a healthy skepticism. We should all have that. I think Jimmy has.
I agree with that.
I'm in the back of my head. I'm thinking Thomas Massie and Donald Trump are not fighting. It could be fake, like the Elon Musk Rubio. It could be a head fake. Here's another thing. Donald Trump, you think Donald Trump likes Benjamin Netanyahu? I served as an elder of Jehovah's Witnesses for 14 years. And I'll tell you this, everybody I served with hates each other. The elders hated each other. They go knock on the door. They hate each other. All of them. And then the white brothers in the English congregation hate the Spanish, and there's jealousy. There's just a lot of hate. A lot of times politicians vote against their party line to keep the debate open. So there's a lot of things. But I think the spirit that Michelle has of healthy skepticism, I'm with you. Because it doesn't make sense how Thomas Massie's committing suicide wanting to get primaried here. So there has to be more than meets the eye. It could be a staged fight.
Yeah, and that's why I don't get so wrapped up in these things, when they hit the news like this, because I'm like, I've been at this crap for 5 years.
Right.
And I've seen the same time. It could be a different circumstance or a different story, but it's always the same. Something else comes out later and we're like, oh, that's why that happened.
And I do understand that I can have that kind of a response to something like that, just like you would. But this is something that I can't do that because it goes literally against us as Americans and our free speech. Like this meme right here, arrest pedophiles on the Epstein list. And then the next one says, arrest campus students for anti-Semitism, because that's exactly what that bill says. So why would Trump sign something like that if he was really about America first and about our freedom of speech? So those two things do not make sense.
Well, those people,
go ahead, Michelle.
From what I'm understanding on this is these people that are protesting, they are pro-Hamas people. Most of them are illegals. They're not even students, and half these people that show up at these protests are not even students of those schools. And so what they are doing is they are interfering with the students, whether they are Jewish, white, black, whatever. They're interfering with those students' right to an education, right to move about freely on the campus, and everything like that. And so I think that is the reason why this has all been done, geared towards these protests at these colleges.
Yeah, but what about the anti-free speech laws that Trump is pushing in the Noahide laws? I don't know if you've looked into Noahide laws, but everybody, I'm not Christian, but it's gonna, it's gonna affect everyone. Just because it affects Christians, it'll affect everybody down the road. You got to research this stuff. There's sneaky stuff going on behind the scenes with Trump.
And this is what I've said before. As of right now, I'm not concerned. I keep up with everything and I watch everything, but Trump hasn't flipped that switch for me yet. But if he does, I will be one of the first people to say, "Holy crap! He needs to be held accountable, and justice needs to be served on him too."
But it infringes on our First Amendment right. That should be a thing that really bothers you if you do really care about American values. Because what he's doing is censoring us. Like I told you last week, I don't care if I'm on a campus or not on a campus. We have freedom of speech to criticize any country on the world, even our own. They even burn the American flag, and they don't enforce that. But if you burn an Israeli flag, you go into jail.
So what right does an illegal alien who is not even a member of the school, what right do they have to go on a campus and start taking over buildings?
I agree with that. They do not have any right. I'm talking about American citizens.
We're talking about laws, Jimmy. We're talking about laws, American laws that they're putting into effect.
Where has my free speech been attacked so far?
Trump, look into it. 2019 and recently, he's been doing it. Anti-Semitic, anti-free speech laws.
And Trump is not the only one either, because Ron DeSantis actually signed those bills in Florida.
They're all doing it.
Exactly. So this is what I'm trying to help folks that watch this realize, that from right under your noses, these bills are getting passed. And even with DeSantis, same thing with him. I completely disagreed with those laws. And it does infringe on our freedom of speech. And that's all I'm saying. I'm letting everybody know that this is my stance on that. And I'm going to always say when Trump is wrong. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah. After you, Jesse, I want to say something too.
Yes. I just wanted to say about the IPAC. First of all, I like to not follow the Jews because you always end up in a fight. Like Gilbert says, anytime the word Jehovah comes up, boom, I don't know what it is.
Then we fight.
Okay. But what I want to say about IPAC and Donald Trump is that, remember when Donald Trump was criticized for giving money to Hillary Clinton, George Bush, he gave money to both sides, and he goes, "I'm a businessman."
Yeah.
If you look at today's negotiations, they were in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia hosted. If he really was a puppet of Benjamin Netanyahu, and it's known all over the internet, you can look it up. Donald Trump does not like Benjamin Netanyahu. No. They're like the two elders that have to kiss at the meeting, but they hate each other. He called him a traitor and a backstabber.
Right.
Here's another thing. A lot of the Arab nations embraced Donald Trump. A lot of the Chinese people embraced Donald Trump. A lot of the Russian people embraced Donald Trump. So you have, when you're in a Confederate country, you have to whistle Dixie. And when you're up north, you have to sing the battle hymn of the Republic.
I understandable. I get that. Okay, go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, there's two things I want to say, and then I'm going to get off. This has been fun. But there's two things. Are you guys familiar with the YouTuber Anomaly?
Yes.
Okay. So Anomaly, he I may not agree with everything he says, but one thing I can give him credit for is research. And there's two things that he has dug into that I think everyone should look into. One, the Epstein files. Why Trump is like so involved with all the people on Trump. There's like a lot on his cabinet, like Pam Bondi, and there's certain individuals that do have connections to Epstein, all right? And for some reason, Trump always has swamp creatures. So the first time around, he had swamp creatures. Everybody made excuses for it. Oh, it's his first time in term. He doesn't know any better. Second term, he still has swamp creatures, okay? And these people, like I said, they're connected to Epstein. Check Anomaly's video. He does research on it. He look into that. And then the other thing he did research on from, I think, a couple years ago was Pfizer and Trump's connection. He did a video about how Trump has been getting money, has gotten money, just like with AIPAC. He got money. That's why he's become a vaccine salesman. Why do you think he pushes them so much? Even though he doesn't mandate it, it's regardless. That doesn't matter to me. The guy has these followers with, like, and I've said this, with TDS on both sides. And I mean by TDS, I mean they worship Trump. Okay, so he knows this, and he's been telling people to get vaccinated. Oh, he did it, I did it. He went out and said it, and he knew his followers would do it. And I have a huge problem with him even promoting it. So why is he promoting it? I think he's getting paid. So I think everybody listening right now should go and really look into and follow the money and see what's really going on, because I'm sorry to say this. I wanted Trump to be a good guy. I was with everybody back in 2020, but after the things I've seen, I just don't think he's it. And I believe now more than ever, both sides are the same, and they're trying to just pin us against each other, and that's all it's about.
Wow. Thank you, Michelle. Round of
Yeah,
applause. That was very said. I put Anomalies YouTube channel up if anybody is interested in his work. He is really good. He makes great content. I also love Candace Owens
yes.
and other freelancers like those.
Yes, thank you for letting me speak, Ruby. I just wanted to jump on real quick and say that, and I was on your side, and I felt like, it was Jimmy and Jesse, and I just wanted to let you know I was hearing you and I was agreeing with you.
No,
Okay,
yes,
guys.
thank you. Thank you.
Take care, you guys. Thanks again.
All
Yeah,
right. See you
see,
soon,
my
Michelle.
whole thing with this is I believe that there's a lot more going on than what people realize, and that's where I'm at on it. Because
and I do agree with that. There is a deeper iceberg here, but what I see on the tip is what I'm showing everybody here. Sorry, go ahead.
And when it comes to the jibby jab stuff, there's a lot more to that people don't even realize. There's a lot more to that.
And we do need to have I know I say this all the time, that we need to dedicate a thing to that. But after my strike clears out, I will do the COVID stuff, because there's a lot of stuff about that. But right now I'm going to focus on this anti-Semitism, because there's a few more points that I want to make and a video that I want to show. So this is from 1987. I think you guys would enjoy this. We have been warned since this time.
Hello, I think I saw this.
Hi, and this is my wife, Lynn. Today, a foreign government, Israel, operates the most powerful lobby in Congress. This is AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Through control of Congress, Israel demands and gets nearly $5 billion annually. No elected official dares criticize Israel for fear the Jewish lobby will accuse him of anti-Semitism, the kiss of death for any politician. The president also knows what Israel wants, Israel gets. To act otherwise is political suicide. The mass media, founded and controlled primarily by Jews, manipulates the spigot of information out of which Heartland America drinks. The message of this contaminated source is, if you criticize Israel, you are anti-Semitic. Be safe, keep your head down, or you are fair game for being knocked off by the Zionist shooting gallery.
As a result, our president and elected officials are slaves to political correctness when it comes to Jews and Israel. They cannot seriously criticize Israel, especially as the source of Mideast strife and terrorism. They cannot suggest an end of aid to Israel. They cannot even protest Zionist control of Congress.
All right. So I wanted to show you guys that clip, because that was in 1987, right?
Yep.
And then I'm going to show you 2025. The same sentiment is still happening, because it's honestly the truth. So I'm going to show you a clip from Nick Fuentes talking about that 23 hours ago. This was posted.
And I want to point out about the whole situation. Let's consider what they consider anti-Semitism. Let's talk about what the government and the defenders of Israel consider anti-Semitism, because it's important to discuss the proper definition. And I'm not going to repeat what I said on the show with Elijah on Saturday, because we got into this a little bit on that show as well. Anything that can be construed as criticism of Jews in Israel, they will call anti-Semitic. And when I say anything, I mean anything. If you say, for example, that Israel's war in Gaza is too brutal, they say you're a terrorist sympathizer. They say that because Israel, according to their narrative, is acting in self-defense, if you sympathize with those that Israel is killing, you don't think Israel has a right to exist. Because those people threaten Israel. Israel has to do what must be done. Anything is justified against their adversaries. And if they don't absolutely annihilate their adversaries, if they don't take every liberty, violate every international law or understood norm of warfare, then their very existence is undermined. Therefore, if you sympathize with those they are killing, you're undermining their existence. You don't want them to exist. And if Israel doesn't exist, then Jews aren't safe anywhere. That means you hate Jews. That's literally how they argue. I am not exaggerating. I am not making that up. If you talk to them, that is how they will frame it. That is the logical progression. If you say, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like that women and children are indiscriminately being killed by these huge bombs, 2,000-pound bombs. It's indiscriminate. The ordnance they're dropping on these highly populated residential areas. If you say that, then they say you're against the existence of Jewish people. So any question, any criticism, insult, mockery, anything, you make a Holocaust joke, anti-Semitic. You make a joke about some Jewish trope or reality, like that they're good with money or they run the media, anti-Semitic. You criticize Jews themselves or their religion, anti-Semitic. You criticize Israel, anti-Semitic. Now, what they say about anti-Semitism, by the way, is that all anti-Semitism is intrinsically irrational, and it is founded on irrational hatred of Jewish people. So any question, joke, criticism, insult, anything, it's all categorized as anti-Semitism. And they believe that anti-Semitism by its very nature is completely irrational. And when I say irrational and when they say irrational, what they mean is that anti-Semitism is completely 100% independent of people's lived experiences or empirical facts or anything having to do with Jewish people in the world themselves. They believe that to insinuate otherwise itself is anti-Semitic. They believe that anti-Semitism is something that never comes in response to Jewish behavior, ever. It never comes from data. It never comes from experiences. It only comes from 100%. And there can be no question about this. They say it comes only from pure irrational hatred. If you have an anti-Semitic question, criticism, attitudes, a joke, anything like that, that's coming wholly from within you as a person. There is nothing external about it. You're either being brainwashed by someone who is a hater or you're a hater yourself. Either way, the hatred, you were born with it. It's in your DNA. It's in your bones. It was there present in your grandmother's womb when you were an egg in your mother's womb. That is what they believe.
Okay, so those two videos basically sum up my thoughts and stance when it comes to these things, which is why I just wanted to help everybody understand why I'm so against these bills and anti-free speech and everything that we've mentioned 20 minutes ago, because now you're creating a protected class who you can't criticize. And specifically on a campus with what Trump just signed, you can't criticize, you can't talk back. Exactly what Nick said in that video. You can't do any of that for fear of being labeled anti-Semitic, losing your scholarship, getting kicked out of the school, etc. Go ahead, Jesse.
I beg to differ. And I honor what he said because we've all been witness to it. We've all seen it with our own eyes. But welcome to the party. You can't espouse Republican principles or conservative principles without the white people calling you a Nazi, our white liberal friends calling us a Nazi. Look at what that guy did on the video that you started off with. He called us a Nazi.
Exactly.
And look at another thing. Let's say we espouse Americanism in wanting peace. Now they call us pro-Putin. So there are a lot of bitches out there, and that's what they are. A lot of Jews are bitches. They're not grown-up men. They like to throw sticks and stones may break our bones. They're going to call us Nazis. They're going to call us anti-Semite. You can't do nothing in this world without
They
being
can do
named.
that all they want. We have the freedom to do that in this country, and we can do the exact same thing to them.
Exactly.
That's what makes America great. So when you
But
put these anti-speech things into law, like you did in Florida, like Trump is doing when he signed that bill, that's what's wrong about that. No, you should be able to criticize any group. Go ahead.
yes, in the 60s, we used to. In comedy, remember Don Rickles? He used to go after the Jews hard. So this has been a progression. It didn't come overnight. This has been going on for decades, getting worse.
That's the
And
problem.
so now,
Yeah, see, this is where I go thinking a little bit bigger on this thing, and it falls in line with what Jesse was just saying, because they're demonizing people, calling them anti-Semitic because they're speaking out against Israel. Well, Jesse's exactly right, because this is part of the deep state playbook, because they will criticize. I mean, if you say something about, in supporting white people, oh, well, you're a white supremacist, or you can't say stuff about BLM without getting attacked and being called racist. You can't say stuff about trans people. You can't, all this stuff. It's the same playbook. So who is pulling these strings and creating this division? That would be the deep state. That's what they want people fighting. And not one of these people and I wish more people would do this, but I think they're playing on people's religious emotions. I think that's an underlying thing, because so many people, so many Christians out there believe that the Israel we see today is the same Israel from the Bible.
Exactly. And that's wrong as well.
I'm here to tell you it is not.
Right.
Because the state of Israel is Khazarian. Benjamin Netanyahu is not even Jewish. He is Polish. So I wish more people like Nick Fuentes, I wish they would actually come out and call it for what it is. It is the Khazarian mafia running Israel, and they're setting up their little playbooks to try, hey, don't look at us, don't talk about us, or you're a bad person. That's what it is.
And I think he does do that. I don't watch his show entirely. I just found that clip very helpful for my position to bring this to my audience, is because exactly what you just said about the BLM, the white nationalism, whatever. That's the point, though, is what I'm trying to make. Did Trump do anything or sign bills into Congress or whatever that would prohibit people talking against BLM or any of these other movements? No, he didn't do that. But he goes ahead and does it now for the anti-Semitic bill. So that's what I'm trying to show the difference is, why is he doing this now for just this one class of people when we all know how this can snowball and it can become a thing now that we're going to be signing bills for everybody now, that we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that, etc.
Can I ask you this, Ruby? Can I ask you this, Ruby, respectfully? Did you read the whole bill?
No, I read it on the White House website. I read like what was on that website.
Okay. I think it might be important for us to go read the whole bill, because I think that will explain some stuff and the reason why it was done.
Well, the reason
I'm not saying it's right. I get where you're coming from about the speech. I get that.
Yeah. Yes.
But
that's the most important thing.
Again, I think there's more at play there. And another thing is on the cue boards, it did say we are saving Israel for last.
Right.
So
I get that. But
this all could be set up. This could all be a setup thing.
Right.
It could be.
But you do know that meme that says, the Second Amendment is for when the first one doesn't work.
Correct.
But when there's an actual bill that is prohibiting you from using your First Amendment, what do you think is going to happen next if this snowballs out of control?
And the squeaky wheel gets greased, and they're a squeaky wheel. They squeal more than the Mexicans. They squeal more than the blacks. They squeal more than everybody. So they get greased. So they have bills that other people don't. They're a very strong lobby in America. Very strong. But like Jimmy says, we don't know everything in the bill. And it wouldn't hurt to write the White House and ask them these questions, because your questions are very good.
No,
will it limit?
Like,
will they
good point. Yeah. Good point, Jesse. Thank you for saying that, because I think it really does bother me because like I told Jimmy, I told everybody like last week or the week before, is that I am past MAGA. I am past just supporting Trump. I'm past a lot of those things. I am truly authentically America first, that I would do my best. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I see stuff like this and I see it infringing on our rights, that's important that people wake up to that. Even though I do like Trump, I did vote for him. You know what I'm saying? But this is not the way to go. And then what he did to Thomas Macy is even like that's the last straw for me. Like I'm angry that this is happening because Thomas Macy is the only other person who was outspokenly America first. So if we do care about our country, we talked about, country over party. We talked about what it means to be American, Americanism, those values, everything that's the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, so everything that makes us great. But then you see a president do something like this. He's not the first. He won't be the last. And that's what I'm trying to show people, is that you do need to talk back when your president does things like this that totally go against the very First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. And that bill basically was saying the separation between Judaism and the ethnicity of Jews. So they are making it a religious thing. And I do understand their perspective when it comes to freedom of religion and that somebody shouldn't be discriminated because of that. But we can do that without infringing freedom of speech. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Is it possible? This is how I like to think. Is it possible that some of these things are being done on a design basis to get people to the position where you're at, to where we've got to save America? We've got, because no one's coming to save us. We as a country have to save ourselves. So are we being shown a certain path to be like, yeah, that's not where we want to go, to force us to wake up? Is that possible?
Yes, I believe that, because it's like, how can I do that if I feel obstructed when we're putting pro-Israeli values ahead of American values? Yes.
I mean, and think about it, everybody wants to bitch about Trump and Operation Warp Speed and everything. Okay, there's a whole nother reason for all that stuff. We're not going to get into that. But how more knowledgeable are the mass of people now on vaccinations?
Completely wide open.
If Trump would have done nothing, would the public know what we know about vaccinations now?
No, they would think that he wants us all to die, as if he doesn't care about us. Once again,
take Trump out of it. Take Trump out of it. As far as what he did, what he brought out, he was showing us what their playbook was. He was showing us what they wanted to do to everybody. But when he came out and started talking about that, people like you, I was the same way. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go down that route. I was where you're at with this.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to look at it now. Now, what have we learned since then? The world knows how horrible these things are now. We didn't know that back in 2020 and 2021. So we had to walk through the darkness to get to the light. Now everybody knows I don't want to do that.
Good point. Good point, Jimmy. Go ahead, Jesse.
The world is governed by excessive use of force, by male excessive use of force. And you got to understand that. Also, the pendulum swings. What did we see? We saw Jewish people, which are predominantly Democrat in the United States. They vote Democrat. But the irony of ironies is yellow man, orange man is not a Democrat, and he protects it more than the Jewish people. Listen, mathematically, the Jews are predominantly in the United States Democrats. Did you know that what's the only place on earth, me and Gilbert talked about this, where man can live peacefully, hand in hand, where Jew and Gentile and Arab can live peacefully?
Where?
The Democrat Party. You have Ilhan Omar and Wasserman Schultz and Chuck Schumer walking hand in hand. Why can't they do that in Palestine? Why does it have to be at the Democrat Party? What I'm telling you here is the pendulum swing. We saw in the last 4 years, who was that guy, that judge that tried to take out Trump's executive orders? Wasn't his last name Ali? And isn't he just a naturalized citizen? Didn't we see the executives of these schools all trying to actively knock out Jews? So the pendulum is swinging. For the last 4 years, the Jews have been getting their asses kicked by Jews themselves. You think Wasserman Schultz is pro-Jewish? You think Chuck Schumer? They were always voting against the Jewish people. It took a person, a white boy like Donald Trump, to come save them. So what I'm saying is sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. How could it be that the Jews vote against their own self-interest? They do that in the Democrat Party. When time after time in collegiate in colleges, people are outlawing Judaism. And then the Jews vote for that. So sometimes the grown-ups get in control of power and go, hey, wait, time out here. We got to make a correction. Now, did Donald Trump go too far? That's where I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Right. And that's exactly how I feel. And I do understand where Jimmy's coming from when he had this kind of a moment with COVID. Thousands of other people said the exact same thing. But they would rather just bash Trump instead of actually explaining like what I'm doing here now with how important it is and why it bothers me so much. It's the same thing when they did with the mandates and everything. And Trump still went ahead and did certain things that, yes, it was completely against America, against us. So sometimes I do feel as if I'm stuck or like I am suppressed in some kind of way. Even if it doesn't directly apply to me, it's like I'm thinking about the country. I'm thinking about other people, American, like all of us. It's not just one group of people. So that was going to be my, before I go to my controversial day, before we get into the nasty,
this wasn't controversial? This wasn't the controversial part?
That was tough. That was very tough.
Are you kidding me?
And I thank you guys for taking that with grace because it really does bother me, and I'm not afraid to be called names or anything like that. So I am comfortable enough to.
This is what mature conversations look like.
Hey, Ruby, can I tell you what happened in work the other day? There was this contract, and I work for a supplier of a major manufacturer of air conditioners. And he called me up and he goes, hey, Jesse, in the county where you're at, they're going to want 4 or 5 replacement air conditioners. Can you go bid it? So I went and got the documents to go bid it, and I was reading through it, and one of them says that if I have to be this about the Jew APAC or so I threw the paper away. And then my distributor calls me up and goes, hey, Jesse, did you bid on that? He goes, no, because they got too political. And he goes, what? They gave me all kinds of Israeli crap. I'm a Mexican American. What the hell do I care about the Jews or the Arabs? Why do they have to bring it into my politics? And I think a lot of Americans are there. We're at a point where the Russians and the Ukraine, we're sick and tired of them. The Jews and the Arabs are sick and tired of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to have their heads blown when they finally realize that the state of Israel is not what they've been told it was.
Right.
A lot of Christians are going to lose their damn minds.
And okay, so this was the last thing that really pisses me off is when I see politicians like Rick Scott, who's from Florida, this is very disappointing, with the Israeli flag on his wall in his office. Once again,
I don't like that
you are
dude
an
either.
American politician. The only flag that you should be saluting to, pledging your allegiance to, having flying on your freaking door or the hallway or the wall, wherever you want it should be American. And if I see any other flag on there, I'm done with you. So Rick Scott is on my list. Like,
I don't like Rick Scott.
I don't even have to like them. I see the signs. Like once you look at somebody, you can quickly discern. Okay, go ahead.
One way you can look, I mean, we know that these Khazarians, they've been running Hollywood and their little sex trafficking rings and all that. And we know that all that is being, for the lack of better words, dismantled right now. So they are freaking out. And so When they start freaking out, then I think that's where a lot of this push comes. Like Nick Fuentes, I have a little problem with him too. But I think you're going to see more of this from people because they are panicking right now because they are losing their hold on many different sectors right now.
And yes, Lisa, and this is the problem. A lot of Congress has dual citizenship. That should have been common sense illegal from day one.
Correct.
Listen, I would kick out anybody who doesn't have the American flag, wasn't born in America. Everything has to be American. And this is why I have such an issue with it. And it's not that I don't like a certain class of people or their nationality or their ethnic background or their religious background. It has nothing to do with that. If you work for me, you're my representative, then act like it and look like it and put an American flag on that wall and take down that Israeli flag or the Ukrainian flag or any other flag and stop it. Why are they getting paid to be having other foreign flags in their office? I'm sorry.
I don't think people. I don't think people realize how much harm the state of Israel has caused the United States as a whole. But they want to bitch about Russia all the time.
Exactly. Like
that's your deflection point right there. You know. So yeah, the state of Israel, it's deep state. It's deep state.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm going to show everybody this meme as a how do you say it? Like to pique people's interest about what we mean when Israel is more dangerous than anybody else, in my opinion, any other country. They are not our ally, just like the UK is not our ally. Australia is not our ally. All of these supposedly allies that we supposedly have, I'm sorry, but they do not uphold our values, so they shouldn't be our allies. And
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to explain this picture. Was long time ago we talked about this, the USS Liberty, the whole story when it came to that. Candace Owens interviewed the veteran who was on that ship. He gave his testimony, everything. And I'm sorry, but I believe him. And if we believe that story, that it was actually Israeli planes that attacked us and they covered it up, I'm sorry that we cannot hide that. We cannot ignore that either. You know what I'm saying? The country, the deep state wants to ignore that and cover it up just like they did with 9/11. And I am sorry. No, there was the dancing Israelis. We talked about that whole conspiracy, but it's true. You see what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. I'm not going to forget about that. You know,
when I woke up to this political stuff and I realized, it's the deep. Okay, so you have two factions in America. You have the deep state and you have the real American citizens, right? We can all agree with that's all over. You have the deep state in Israel, and you have the regular Jewish people that have nothing to do with the state, right? So, and we know how evil the deep state is and how far their tentacles have gone. And then I just remember me thinking about a comment. I think it was the Ayatollah of Iran or the president of Iran said. He called Israel the little Satan and America the big Satan. But what he was referring to was the deep state.
Ayatollah Khomeini.
Right.
Yeah. But everybody, the media, the Ayatollah called us Satan and this and that and that. But he was right because he was talking about the deep state.
Yes, I agree.
And you know what? When we grew up, when we were kids, we would watch the news, the nightly news. In the 1960s and 1970s, they taught Syria was in the hands of the Soviet Union, maybe Lebanon. We had a foot ground during Reagan in Lebanon, but maybe Saudi Arabia and some of the other countries were being flirted by the Soviet Union. Iran probably was. But Israel was a stalwart. And I remember as a kid, when you would watch the news on the United Nations, all the nations would vote against the United States. And only Israel would stand with the United States. So what happened is, this is a long time happening.
Yep.
They've infiltrated our government in many ways. Remember George Washington warned us against entangling alliances.
Yes.
We're
Exactly.
entangled with so many countries, so many evil people, so many mafias, so many. We're in, like in the Colombia during the 80s. We were in there. We're everywhere. Look at El Salvador with the Salvatruchas. When we deported them, we were involved in a lot of the evil stuff that has happened in the country. We didn't follow George Washington's admonition to avoid entangling alliances.
And this is why. And this is why I try not to get in debates with people about simple right versus left stuff, because it's so much big. I mean, I even did a video a couple years ago trying to tell everybody we have the same enemy.
Right.
Every one of us. And they are using their propaganda and their brainwashing to keep all of us divided. And they want us arguing about Trump and Biden, this and that, because they don't want us waking up to the bigger picture of things that are happening.
Right. And what they're going to try to do once again is recruit our sons and daughters for a war that we do not support as Americans. The Ukraine war, the Israel's war, whatever other war is over there. We don't support none of it. And people are waking up to that. Because, I used to be... Oh, go ahead.
Did you hear today where they have secured, or Zelensky has signed up, he's cool with the 30-day ceasefire?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Marco Rubio, he went to, like Jesse said, they went to Saudi Arabia today, and the Saudi Arabian the king hosted the situation, and Zelensky has agreed to a 30-day ceasefire. And so now the conversation is going from when will this war end to how will this war end? It's going to end. So I'm not even worried about Ukraine anymore, because I can see what's going to happen there.
Yeah, from day one, I never was. I mean, that's the point, is that America wants to get involved, like Jesse said, entangled, and then they want to send our sons and daughters into these wars to die for a country that is corrupt, a government that is corrupt. And that's where I have problems with my nationalism, is because I do love my country, but I reject literally everything that I see happening right now. So sometimes I kind of feel like I love this country, but I would never send up my sons and daughters to be in the military.
Right. But the deep state, who's going to benefit? You got to follow the money. The only reason they want perpetual wars is so that the military industrial complex can keep making money. That's why.
Exactly. And I am anti-war, so that wouldn't work
Ruby,
with Republican values. Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
If you are anti-war, you gotta give this orange man his props. Look, not even the Jehovah's Witnesses, not even the Catholics, not even the Protestants, not even the Holy Rollers, not even the religious freaks, the Bible thumpers, were calling for peace. Only this guy that everybody calls a degenerate, everybody calls him every bad word in the book. It's almost like the words of Jesus Christ are coming true. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. There's a turning around. Here is the most immoral person in the world leading the world towards peace, begging the world towards peace. We all talk about peace, and we sing songs. Bette Midler sang, "From a distance, God is watching us." Oh, yeah? Well, Orange Man is the only one advocating for peace.
And that's the only reason why I voted for him.
Where's all these demonstrators that were out during the Vietnam War protesting against war? Where are they? They're not. You do not see them.
Yep.
Where's Paul McCartney and John Lennon?
So the Democratic Party and the rhinos, we know that they are pro-war.
Right. And I am also like against that. And that's the only reason why, in my opinion, Trump was going to be that anti-war, narrative. He was the only one who was saying that. I mean, even other Republicans were like warmongers, like what's her name, Nikki Haley, and all these other neocons.
Oh God, yeah, Nikki Haley.
In support of it. You know what I'm saying? But that's sad, and it's disgusting to see how people approve of that. They want America to be involved. You know what I'm saying? Like policing the world. I think I told you this a long time ago, that was like my thing. It was like, why are we policing the world? We need to focus on America. We need to get our bases out of these countries. We need to get our money back and our hands and feet out of other people's resources in other people's countries.
I can agree with that.
Well, one of the things the elites told us in the turn of the last World War was that if we had free markets, that we wouldn't fight into a world war. And that's what I'm talking about, the pendulum swinging. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We're learning in history. It's good being old, 50, 60, 70 years, because your eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. You get to see that the folly of man thinking that we could bring peace. Like, for instance, you get a lot of people that say, I want a lasting peace. Dude, you don't even know if tomorrow you're going to get hit in the road. How are you going to have a lasting peace? You can't. All you could do is control what you have today. And Donald Trump says, hey, stop the shooting now. We'll work out the details later. Will there be a lasting peace? Will it be successful? We don't know. We don't have control over tomorrow. All we have is control over today, what we do today. And what he's saying is stop the goddamn childish thing that because you have drones killing human beings now. It is an ungodly demonic war that's happening.
Yep.
Okay, so I got all of my points out the gate because my real controversial take, and I don't know if it might be, this is a warning for everybody in the chat, whoever's watching in the present or the future. But this is this is where I wanted to throw it out there. I had thought about this long, and I told my cousin Tony that this is why I have these ideas, right? This ideology, and I say it for like America first, right? But I also have that same ideology for the world. I believe every country should be putting their own country first. And whatever that means for them, they should be able to do that, have their own rules, have their own policies, and enforce those rules and policies, whether or not we agree or disagree with them.
Right.
So if they can do it, we can do it, right?
Right.
Now I take it even a step further. Like I touched on it last week about the DEI, about the civil rights, about things that kind of add to the Bill of Rights or Constitution. Some people believe that that's now a right, or that now, X, like this bill or that bill or this right is actually going to help minorities, or, etc. That's how people think. But in my opinion, I don't even think that's necessary. Like, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe all you need really is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to govern yourselves. We don't need any other rights or bill to tell us what we can't or can do, which is why I'm against the anti-Semitic bill, right? For example, I would go as far as to say we don't even need the civil rights. I'll go further. And the whole MLK leaks that we talked about a long time ago, that he was attending Communist Party meetings. And so why would he be doing that? And then yet professing himself to be a Christian and to be fighting for civil rights movements, but he has affiliations and connections to the Communist Party. That gives me a red flag, which makes me believe that the whole civil rights movement was a part of a commie agenda that they used MLK to push, and that the government went ahead and appeased them.
I totally agree with that.
So that was my controversial take, is that we don't need any of that, and that he was a fraud. Go ahead, Jesse.
But there's different dimensions, Ruby. And Jimmy keeps saying there's something bigger. There's something bigger. There is always something. Let me just throw another dimension at you. It's not so much commie and American, because I'm with you. I hate the commies. But in the royal British bloodline, naturally, 100, 200 years earlier than that, hated the Russian bloodline. So the rivalry between East and West is longer than just the commies, the Marxists, and the capitalists. It's been going on for a long time. And you see that today. When I was a kid, we used to watch Bugs Bunny, and they used to tell us that the gremlins were bringing down the gremlins. We are Russian gremlins. They would teach us to hate. I swear to God, when I was in school, they taught us to hate the Russians.
Yeah, that's propaganda. Yeah.
And I got to admit that in my heart, I hate the commies. I've always had, because I was indoctrinated as a baby that way.
Right.
And Western society normally sides with Britain against Russia, when we're much closer than what we really are. So, like, for instance, if you listen to John F. Kennedy didn't want to go to Vietnam. Much of the same reasons probably why Trump. And people would say, well, he's a commie. No, he wasn't. He wanted to talk to Nikita Khrushchev because there was there was psychos next to Nikita and there was psychos next to Kennedy. Maybe they were the level-headed people.
Mm-hmm. Good point, Jesse. I'm gonna go a little further. I also had another set of ideas that I felt even in America, when they try to trigger these race wars and try to trigger that maybe one group is better than the other, BLM, all these movements that we have seen since 1964, it's just a result of not allowing those communities to be amongst themselves, which is segregation. So that's the controversial take, is that I actually agree with segregation. And I was going to put it out there to see if anybody wanted to counter that, because I'm going to explain it. Because before, when all these groups were separated, they were able to flourish. They were able to, like we spoke before, hire themselves, work for themselves, create communities, like residential communities. You live amongst yourselves, you work amongst yourselves, and you build your own community. And I feel like after the whole civil rights and integration is when they kind of broke up those strongholds that those communities had in the past. And the one example that I can think of is Black Wall Street, when they burned it down and they destroyed everything that the Black community had created, and they forced them to be, disenfranchised, or whatever you want to call it, so that they integrate with the rest of the world and the markets and etc. I was thinking, what if we can go back to a time or a place in a perfect world, that if we were able to go back to those ideas and lift up our own communities to what it should be? The Black community should be up, the white community should be up, the Spanish, Hispanic, community should be up, and they should use our American values, Americanism, to lift their own communities up without blaming other communities for putting the other one down. Because that's the problem that I see. They always want to blame one community that doesn't allow them to flourish. So I just wanted to put that idea out there for you guys.
My thought on that is, I think that, in respectfully speaking, I think the idea of segregation goes against the true American American ID, yeah, or ideology, because America was built to be a melting pot. And I believe that if we weren't being controlled by deep state influences, and we had people in our government that were truly America first, and these people didn't exist, we wouldn't need segregation, because we wouldn't have people out there pitting us against each other.
Okay. Go ahead, Jesse.
Jimmy, blessed is your answer. I love it. I agree with it. I agree with Jimmy's answer. I just want to build on that. The irony of the ironies is that I love segregation. I've seen it with my own eyes. I lived it. In the Spanish congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, the whites left us. They built their kingdom hall. They got away from us. They didn't invite us to the new kingdom hall. Where I lived, we had the Black swimming pool. It's right down on 3rd Street. It was called, Lisa, what was the name of the Black swimming pool? Carver Pool. And a couple of blocks up is the white pool was a Marcus. So the Black pool, the Black kids would swim there. It was 10 cents. And Abe Marcus was 25. It was a Black school in the 50s and 60s. And so I got to see it as a young baby in the 70s, in the early 70s. So if we didn't have a lot of money, we only had a dime, we went to the Black pool. But if we had a quarter, we'd go to the white pool. And what Jimmy just said, I have to agree with him. America is a melting pot, but there is richness in poverty. The greatness of Elvis Presley came from his disgrace. Because he was considered white trash, because he was discriminated, made him great. So there's a fuel that a person who has been kicked down, there's a fuel he gets, a hunger to become greater. And that's the way I was brought up as a Mexican American. Every time I was called a wetback, I worked harder to fire that guy, to become in a position to fire. And that's the way we were. We never cried. We worked hard.
Makes you better. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but Jimmy
agree with
is
you guys.
right though. Jimmy is right, and he have to honor his answer.
Yeah, and no, I do agree with that. I like to just throw stuff out there to get people thinking and to
That's what I do.
chime in. Yeah, exactly, to chime in, because this is a certain idea that would never be allowed to speak about in our households, let alone on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good
Yeah, because
example.
as soon as you say the word segregation, people are like,
Exactly.
but yeah, I think if we didn't have forces lording themselves over us, we could see a much more united, and in the world too. We'd have more unity if we didn't have these people.
Hey, can I tell you something, guys? I grew up 1975, 76. What comes after 75?
76.
76.
That's the spirit. That's where I grew up. And you know what? I caught the spirit of 76 when I was a kid. And I got a bike with me and Gilbert on the desert. 76. We had the spirit of 76, the bicentennial. And if somebody tells me now, Jesse, do you want to go to heaven? Do you want to go to paradise earth? I would say I was in Yuma in 1976. I've already been to heaven. Mine eyes have seen the glory. I've already seen it. And, you know, when I was a little kid, there was a baseball team. The greatest baseball team, the 1975-76 Reds. 3 whites, 3 blacks, and 3 Latinos.
Yep. Yep.
We've already seen glory on earth. But we've gone away from it. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm distracted by my phone. Well, another reason why I think about these things is because when I found out about things like Black Wall Street, when I found out about the whole Ruby Bridges story, the whole MLK, all that propaganda that they give us in elementary school, it's like it becomes a thing that now that I'm an adult, I'm looking back at history and I'm looking back at literally everything and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it could have been better if these communities were just allowed to be great on their own. I mean, what's wrong with that? And then another example was the HBCUs. Why is there a whole university just dedicated to Black Americans? You know what I'm saying? And then some of these spaces, right? Like in 2020, some of these spaces were going viral for like, you know, all Black, no white people allowed. You know, like those things that will go viral on the internet, like stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's what used to make me think. I'm like, well, if they do want an all Black space, let them have it. What's wrong with that? But don't have a problem when the Spanish people do it or the white people do it when they say only whites or only Spanish. But they don't give the same courtesy or the same respect to other groups. But when it comes to this one group, it's like they think they are entitled to that idea and nobody else can have it or else you're racist. So that's why it used to make me think this way. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the only problem that I have with doing something like that, you know, segregating the people and everything, that's division.
Yes,
in my opinion, that's complete division. And if you divide people, they're easily conquered. And I look at the world. I look at I look for something different for our world. I want people to be able to live together in unity and not have these issues that we're having today. I don't have a problem with having a Black neighbor or working with somebody that's Black or Mexican, or I don't care what your color is. It again,
yeah, me neither.
You know, MLK can, you know, they can say what he's, you know, say what you will about the guy because he was propaganda, but he did say, I want to judge people. I want, you know, the content of their character. That's what I look at. I don't care. So that's why I can't support that idea of segregating everybody, because I think that just goes against our American values.
But you know what? Another thing too, Jimmy, is that you got to accept that there's no law that will take away hate. We're always going to have racism. And that's one of the neat things I get when I experience racism is when you're man enough to understand that people hate you because of the color of your skin.
Right.
Okay, that's cool, man. That's cool. And I'm going to thump you when we go behind this theater, you know, or, you know, but that's just the way it was. Look, you know who one of the greatest patriots, his name is Paul Revere. Did you know he couldn't eat in the English mess tent?
No.
Why? Because of racism. He was a Frenchie. The Frenchies weren't allowed. And he went down as one of the greatest statesmen, one of the greatest patriots of our country. And he couldn't even eat lunch with the white boys. So
Well, I mean,
did that make him less American? No, he went and worked harder than other Americans. And now he's memorialized forever. And we've forgotten about the race.
Right. Good point.
I mean, it's kind of like Hank Aaron and Jackie Robinson, you know, the great baseball players. If you look at because I studied Hank Aaron, I actually did reports on him. I dressed up like him in school for a book report in 4th grade. But if you read Hank Aaron's story and the crap that he went through in the Deep South with the racism, and for him to come out and be the home run leader, because Barry Bonds was on steroids. We don't count him as the home run leader. But it was a great accomplishment that Hank Aaron did, in spite of all the racism and the segregation that he faced. So it's an amazing story. Hank Aaron was awesome.
And there's richness in poverty. Look, when I was a kid, we played baseball. Now that Jimmy brings up baseball. And one of the things, we have Babe Ruth or the All-Star. And we would get the best kids from Yuma, the best kids from the rich side, the poor side of town. And we'd go 22 miles south to Mexico. And we'd get our butts kicked by Mexico. We would play in their field. You know why we would lose? Because we were rich in Yuma. We had groundskeeper, and our ground and our grass was cut. When we went to Mexico, they played on gravel, sandlots. They could catch a baseball at any angle. And in their poverty made them greater than us.
Good point, guys. Both of you guys, great points. Now my finishing point, and we could wrap it up if there's anything else anybody wants to mention. But
you mean we could wrap it up before 3 hours and 4 hours?
I mean, yeah, because I got most of everything off my chest. It's like I got all the energy out.
Like the Von brothers, wrap it up.
Okay, so the reason why I bring all of that up is because I'm still exploring myself. I'm still moving all over the political spectrum. I am exploring these ideas without being afraid and actually talking to people who actually believe in those things. I've spoken to like Pan-Africanists, Black supremacists, white supremacists. I've talking, to National Socialists. The internet is a great place, right? And I have asked them each group, why do you believe in what you believe? What does race have to do with anything? Does it really matter? Because in my opinion, it shouldn't and it doesn't matter. And that's why I call myself Christian nationalist. It's because I don't care what race you are, as long as you're Christian, we are all one, one faith, one body. We are all in this together, basically. That unity is, I think that, Christ brings that unity for us, right? And that's just me personally. Some of those people would agree with that, but then they say, I agree with that, but I will also hold my race above that. So now I understand how people take that, and I have done that outreach. I've spoken to them respectfully, that I want to learn, why do you believe that race would matter? So that's what I wanted to just let everybody know, that every so often I will bring a very controversial take that I have explored, and I'm just going to throw it out there so that we can all chime in and actually discuss that and work and reason our way through it. You know what I'm saying? Like the logic and the reasoning of how people think like this, why they think like that. And then at the end of it, to say why you may disagree or agree with it. Like there were certain things I agree with. I would love for all of our communities to be more united based on ethnicity or race. But in America, like Jimmy said, melting pot. I mean, there's lots of other things that America brings people from different backgrounds, and you are American. It doesn't matter what race you are. As long as you understand those values, you are American, right? And that's what I preach on this show. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thanks for entertaining it and giving your opinions.
I got the point that just hit me.
Yeah.
How many different nationalities of people live in America?
250, 300? I don't know, maybe thousands.
Yeah, maybe.
Why is it always black versus white?
Exactly. That's old. That's old news to me.
Or Latinos. They're not one Latino. There's so many
Exactly.
I
nationalities.
mean,
There's so many different
what about
types.
the Hindu American, the people that are from India? No one talks about them. No one puts them in there's
Exactly.
you don't hear hate the Indian or the Hindus.
Yeah.
You've got people from all over the world living here in the United States.
Right.
Why is it always just that one black versus white thing? Why is that the point? Why is that their focus?
Because it's easy to divide us.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's their
Right.
playbook. That's what they do.
Like in a
But they
prison.
also but they also present it as if we can't question those things. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Like as
course.
if we
Well,
we
just like
can't say the
Watchtower.
opposite. Exactly.
Just like you can't question Watchtower.
Yeah, no.
And you
And that's
can't.
what makes me question it. It's like if the government is doing this, let me figure out what would the opposite scenario be. And then I kind of explore that
Exactly.
in my head. And that's why I do it. Go
You know
ahead,
what?
Jesse.
When you love poetry or literature,
Mm-hmm.
like if you read Shakespeare, or you
Mm-hmm.
read the poem like even if if a clot were fall to the sea, Europe would be the less. Never bother to ask for whom the bell tolled. The bell tolls for thee. And
Mm-hmm.
and when you hear Spanish poetry, Spanish music, you see the exceptionalism in the Spanish language. When you see American or English poetry, you see the exceptionalism. There's exceptionalism in every race. We as an
Mm-hmm.
Americans are exceptional in that we welcome all those
Right.
races into our little country.
Right.
But there's exceptionalism everywhere. A lot of people, oh, you're racist. You believe in American exceptionalism. No, I don't. I believe in the exceptionalism of all countries, of all men, that all men are
Mm-hmm.
created equal.
Exactly. That's why I started my my rant with
And
that. Go ahead, Jimmy.
if we go back to Palestine, Israel, you go back to that section of the world. Don't people realize that before the Balfour Declaration, Jewish, Arab, and Palestinian people lived together in that area with no problems.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know what that is.
It wasn't until after World War I that they started creating all that strife and problems there.
Okay, very interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. Thrifty in the comments says Latinist X. Any thoughts? I rejected all of that the moment it came out. I rejected all. I mean, that was the easiest red flag you could see, and
Yeah.
that's another reason why I don't do the pronouns. And sorry, not sorry, but I do not extend a courtesy to pronounce someone as a gender that they are not.
Nope.
And that
Nope.
goes along with the Latinx.
Ruby,
Go ahead.
do you remember what happened when the Latinx started? These college people, they wanted to say, take away gender, mijo and mija. And to take away mijo and mija from a Mexican American, to take away mijo and mija, it would be like taking away Elvis, George Washington, the Second Amendment away from an American. I mean, it would be like why don't you just go ahead and take away our beer and our beans? I mean, so I think when they try to take away mijo and mija, that's the term of endearment that we were born with as part of our DNA. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna do final thoughts. Anybody would like to say anything? Now is the time to hop on. I'm gonna start wrapping it up. The chat was great. Everybody was great on panel. We got a lot of things covered, and so go ahead, Jimmy. You can do final thoughts, and then Jesse.
I just can't believe we're finishing up only before 3 hours.
Yeah, it was because I was really sick today. I had a migraine all day, and it was horrible. So
yeah, it was kind of. I mean, technically, it wasn't a slow news week because there was a lot of crap that happened. But I think the biggest thing that people need to realize with all of this stuff right now is we're not going to see one big, huge thing that's going to shift the world.
Right.
We're going to see stuff in stages, and I'm ready for it. I mean, I'm ready to see a better future for all of us, not just here in the United States, but around the world. I know that might be pie in the sky thinking, But if people realize how powerful we are as a human being and realize that we're divine, all of us, then we can fight this evilness that's been on us for a long time. And I think we're headed there. Is it going to be easy? No. Are there going to be some bumps along the way? Are there going to be things that happen that you question? Oh, most definitely. But I do think we are headed in a direction that is going to shock the world and is going to be better for all of us. I just believe that 100%.
Awesome, Jimmy. Thank you. Go ahead, Jesse.
I don't got nothing. Your last rant said it all. I wish I could have said it better.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you to Michelle for joining earlier, and Tony, Jimmy, Jesse. I want to thank everybody in the chat for spending time with us, for entertaining these thoughts. Bye, Jesse. Yeah, I think it's important to at least entertain things that might be scary. Like that's why I want to do little by little, give more takes, because it pushes you to get out of that comfort zone and to actually explain your own stance to yourself, to evaluate and reflect on your own stance. Like, well, how do I feel about this? Because now we're not deciding those things with a cult in mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like every single time I would think about something, I would have that filter of watchtower of like, well, how am I supposed to answer? How am I supposed to feel? And it's like, no, we don't have that filter anymore. So when somebody says something as crazy as I just did, you might think, right? You might say, whoa, did she just say that? And I'm doing it also for a reason. Like Jimmy says, he says things for a reason. And my reason is to help you get out of that box and to explore an idea that you are like it makes you uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to bring people out of their comfort zone because we've been geared to not to, you know what they say, don't talk about religion and politics.
Right.
You should absolutely be talking about religion and politics because, if you stay stuck in the little bubble that they want you in, then again, it goes back to the biggest fight we're facing, knowledge versus ignorance. That's where we're at.
Yep, exactly. And also just to remind everybody that the announcements, if anybody wasn't here earlier, we're gonna do the 3-minute rule going forward. We're gonna be more conversational, not really debating anything. And if you do want to debate something that interests you with anybody who you would like to debate, maybe we can set that up and we can create a moderation, a neutral place where we just talk about one subject and we can all debate on that thing. I think that would be fun. We could have like a debate night and we can do 30 minutes of the segment and do a debate. If you're interested, let me know. You guys know you guys can join Discord, the XJW Friends server. I am on there. We can DM, we can call. I mean, that's really where I get to interact with you guys on a more personal level. And you might find it really good. We hang out, we do movie nights, lots of things that we do. Also, another quick announcement, I might be moving this week, so it all depends on whether or not I'm settled in the new place for Friday night news or for next Tuesday political corner. So I'm going to keep everybody updated on that, and I think that's it. I hope I'm not forgetting anything.
I'll just say, as far as Operation Spotlight's concerned, we've got the letter to all the senators. I need to do an update on the map there. So I wanted to push it till March 1 because I have a lot of stuff coming up personally. And I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to inundate. I wanted it to go quick, and we did that. So I've considered it a success. And once Shelley's in the middle of moving as well. Damn, and John Ledger's moving this weekend too. Why is it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I know moving right now.
Yeah.
But once she gets done with that and gets back on the Operation 2.0 spotlight letter, I'm going to be announcing that to everybody as well. And I'll just say, like I said, it's going to go to AGs, attorney generals, and the Federal Trade Commission. So
awesome. I'm excited for that.
It's going to be a different angle of attacking Watchtower.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if you saw the news thing that I did, but I told everybody about that Google thing you sent. I got the list. I have a list, and it doesn't show, but I have a list of all the representatives in the state of Florida from your video description about
Okay.
Operation Spotlight. So I let everybody know that you can click on that, go to your state, and find all of the representatives in your state to send
Yep.
Operation Spotlight to with the cover letter, and you can write your own little letter. And this is how I've been doing it. I put a note on there we go. I put a note, like my own personal note, on top of the cover, in my own handwriting, to show that this is not just bots. You know, we're real people behind
Yep.
these letters. So if you want to put a note and write whatever you want, especially since some of these politicians are like my favorite, you know, like well, not my favorite, but you know, like I know them and their work is like, hey, Representative so and so, I love your work. I want you to be on board. Like that's how I've been like writing it. So I think it's really fun that we can, you know, that we can do that and be a part of something like this. I just have to actually send it. But it's been wild, and I'm moving this week, and it was just crazy. So
I will say this real quick too, Ruby. I was going to save it for the update video, but I'll let you guys know. We have had some emails come back from legislators in the state of Washington. They have responded. I have the emails to where, yeah, I was going to save that for the for the update video, but we have had some response back from some legislators already. So and there's one thing I did notice. You talked about pronouns earlier.
Yeah.
One of the ladies that responded back, she signed at the bottom, and she had she, her. I'm like, oh God. Of course, it is Washington State, so I thought that was interesting that they put pronouns in their signature. But so we have had some legislators recognize that they received the letters.
Yo, that's amazing.
Yeah. I was going to save it for the update video, but hey, you heard it here first. And
wow.
I did talk to somebody else that has had experience working in the White House mailroom, and they said it usually takes about 4 to 8 weeks to get stuff to where it needs to go, because they have to scan it. Yeah, they have to sort it. They have to scan it. They got to make sure there's nothing in these letters, white powder or something. So they said it could take a little while. So we'll see how it goes. So.
Oh wow, that's amazing, Jimmy. Wow.
So I was going to say
that's very exciting. Well, that's great. Wow, thank you so much for that update. That lifted up my spirit a little bit. Like, that's amazing. But you're still going to do that update video, right?
Yeah, I'm going to still do the update video.
Okay. Yeah. All right, good. So that I'm going to share your update on the Friday news if I'm able to hop on.
I might be able to do. I see. What do I got going on tomorrow? I might be able to do that update video tomorrow evening, if not Thursday after I get out of the dentist. Yeah, so I'll get it. I'll get it up. I'll try to get it up before you do the news on Friday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's amazing, Jimmy. Wow, I'm so excited. Is it possible to share that? Like in the future, would that be possible to share it, like a screenshot or something? Or
I don't see why I couldn't share it.
Yeah, because I would love to do like a screenshot and then share it on Discord, Twitter, Facebook, like share it everywhere that we're actually getting a response.
I think what I can do is when I do the video, I can actually pull those emails up and turn my phone around to show the emails.
Yes.
And then you can screenshot from there. You might have to blow it up or whatever to be able to read them. But it's just them acknowledging that they have received it. So, and there was, I'll have to go back and read them again. But yeah, at least we got some response so far.
Amazing. Wow. And if anybody's watching this in the future, if you got a response, because I think Joe and Fran said one time they also got a response from a representative in New York. So even if you guys also get a response on your own, definitely use the hashtag Operation Spotlight. Tag us on social media if you can, and share it with us. I have my email in my bio. You can reach me on Discord, and we can feature your own response or maybe your own video like we did with Michelle. And I think Rosie did a video on Facebook too of them putting everything in the mailbox.
Yeah.
Use the hashtag and tag us, because I would like to showcase all of this hard, like the reward of all of this hard work, that it's doing something,
Y'all are really going to like the 2.0 letter, because I mean, when she came to me with it, it blew my mind. It takes a lot to blow my mind, but I was like, damn, that's a really good angle.
Right. Okay. So, wow, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Jimmy for always being such a valued guest.
I got your back, girl.
Yeah, I appreciate all of the responses and the back and forth and the respectful discourse and the controversial takes. And this is exactly the vision I had for like a year ago. This is exactly what I saw us doing. And it's like I'm looking at myself, like outer body experience, looking at myself like, wow, you're actually doing it every Tuesday night. Like, you're crazy.
There's no other XJW channel doing something like this, because there's some of them, sorry, they're too stuck in their whole they're just stuck.
Yeah, and I want to encourage that. I want to encourage other people to start their own, discoveries and journeys and things like that. Even on the Discord, we have a tab that says news and politics, and sometimes it'd be going down in that tab. But that's the point. It's like we're no longer tied to a neutral stance anymore. So of course you're going to find people that disagree with you. It's how you navigate the discussion. Like you see it here is exactly how it can happen in real life, is exactly what I do with Tony on the phone privately, is exactly what we all should be doing. Even if it sounds as crazy as how I present it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let me know if anybody else would like to join. Like I want to put more people on the panel. I love how Michelle joins, Tony joins, Jesse, Gigi, Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? There's lots more of us out there. We just have to stop being silent and stop being afraid to call things out. So thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Ruby, love you, girl.
Love you too. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a gun throwing patriot, God being patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun throwing patriot, God being patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it.
All red MAGA flags waving through the South like we just want 4 more years. Democrats can't get right. Trumping with that Yeezy flow. Don't go broke on Sleepy Joe. Make America great again.